conquering America. Starting as a boxing champion, this video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26 Secret Deal. Mr. Link Baker, can we chat? Link and James came back from dinner at the east entrance of American Airlines Arena, and a voice came from the side. The person who spoke was a middle-aged man wearing a polo shirt and with a slightly bald head. This person's opening remarks were the same as Greg Cohen's, making him mistakenly think that the other party was also from the promotion company, but it turned out not to be an introduction. The man had previously said that his name was Joseph or something, and that he was Andrzej Fonfara's agent. I have to explain here that Andrzej Fonfara is his opponent in the next game. It ended shortly after Link's game, and the other three first place vs second place games were also roughly over. Southeast Division number 1 Link vs Western Division number 2, Link won. Eastern Division Andrzej Fonfara vs Eastern Division number 2, Andrzej won. Western Division Andre Beto vs Eastern Division number 2, Andre Beto won. Northeast Division Mitchell Robinson vs Southeast Division number 2 Jones Foles. Jones Foles won unexpectedly. The first round of the game ended. The opponent for the second round was drawn. Since he and Jones Foles were both in the Southeast Division, they each drew an opponent when drawing lots. He decided to face the Eastern Division champion Andrzej Fonfara. Andrzej is a technical boxer. In amateur competitions, due to the protection of high elastic sponges, it is extremely difficult to KO opponents. Technical boxers are usually easier to score punches than power and agility boxers in competitions. This is also the reason why technical boxers are more popular in the boxing ring, and it is also one of the reasons why many power boxers give up amateur competitions too early and switch to professional boxing. Andrzej has superb boxing skills, is 189 centimeters tall, has an arm length of 198 centimeters, punches quickly, moves like a praying mantis, and can usually give his opponent a cold punch unexpectedly. His essence is that he is not strong enough, has low resistance to blows, and has worse physical strength than the starting boxers. In the previous game, he fought with the Northern Division runner-up Calvin Peters for 10 rounds, and his physical strength was greatly consumed. He needed someone to help him off the stage. His next opponent is the famous boxing anesthesiologist Link Baker, a hexagonal boxer with power, speed, skills, and beauty. You can imagine the scene that the opponent will expect in the game. So now the audience is looking forward to the afternoon game, wanting to see how Link KOs his opponent. Seeing Andrzej's agent coming to his door, Link was a little surprised and didn't understand what the other party was coming for. Mr. Link Baker, it's like this. I want you to restrain your strength during the game and don't KO Andrzej within 3 regular circles. What? Link was in a trance and smiled. You want me to be gentle in the game? But this is a game, Mr. Joseph. I understand. If Mr. Baker is willing to fight 8 rounds after the game, I'm willing to give you $30,000 as a reward. The middle-aged man said very politely. Link raised his eyebrows and understood that he was asked to fight. This kind of thing is too common. Whether in the underground boxing ring or in the professional boxing world, there is a phenomenon of fake boxing. He had fought many times before and was relatively secretive about his business. It was just an accident that he would appear in the total defense of the Golden Glove Alliance, and he was also surprised that the other party would make such a request. James, I want to sleep again. You come and talk to him about this matter. Tell him that for $30,000, I will make Andrzej fall in the 3rd round. For $40,000, I will make Andrzej fall in the 4th cycle, and for $100,000, I will make Andrzej fall in the 10th cycle. The bottom line is $50,000. I won't do it if it's less than $50,000. James glanced around and said in a low voice, isn't this a fake fight? I heard that there are many people in the boxing circle who fake fight, and it's very statistical. Why do you do this? Link shook his head and concluded, fake fights are deliberately losing the game and changing the result of the game. We are not. We are fair trading. Think about it. I have a game tomorrow. The longer the game between Ender's Edge and I drag on, the more I will consume. So he must compensate me for my late solution to Ender's Edge. James glanced at the middle-aged man not far away. But why did he do this? Is there any difference between a few rounds earlier or later? Of course. My fists are very lethal. The longer he can last under my hand, the stronger he is. After being reported by the media, his data will be more impressive. If I KO Ender's Edge in the first vote, how will the media evaluate him? So this money is well spent. But this is a bad thing after all. I'm afraid that, if the media finds out, will they expose you? James looked around and asked cautiously. Don't worry, just do it. I'll take care of everything. Link smiled. After telling James a few words, he yawned and went back to the lounge to sleep. After more than 10 minutes, James ran in panting. His small curly hair was also wet with sweat and stuck to his forehead. I don't know if it was because of the heat or fear. He carefully closed the door with his butt sticking out and came to wake up Link, who was dozing. Link, 50,000 looks, KO after 8 rounds. Do you want to agree? James swallowed his saliva and asked softly. Link thought about it with his arm as a pillow and nodded. Then I'll go collect the money. James took 2 steps, turned around and asked, how about we go together? Link turned around, turned his face to the wall, snort, and the third party heard the door closing softly. Half an hour had passed, and Link took a nap. James ran in with his belly in his hand, his face flushed, 3 parts excited, and 7 parts anxious. He locked the door of the lounge, took out a butter paper package from his belly, and spread it on the stool. There were 5 bundles of green US dollars. Link was stunned. Where did the money come from? James blinked his eyes. This is it, Joseph. Our deal just now. The 50,000 sentences I just took back. What Joseph? Who is Joseph? What deal? Why did he give you so much money? Link asked in surprise. James was stunned. He rubbed his eyes with his fists and took a closer look. Didn't you just ask me to get out? Did you forget? I didn't. Don't talk nonsense. I was just sleeping, and I don't know anything. James sat down on the ground and pointed at him with a trembling finger. Why are you like this? You asked me to do it. Why are you playing tricks and saying you don't know? I really don't know. Impossible. You obviously knew it. How can you say you don't know? I didn't want to do it, but you asked me to do it. After I finished it, you said no. You can't do this. James slumped on the ground, his eyelids red. Link touched his forehead, feeling a little reluctant, and said helplessly, James, I'm the rule. There are some things I should do, and some things I shouldn't do. I only know that I know what I should know, and I won't ask what I shouldn't know. Do you understand? James blinked his little eyes. He was not stupid, but he had never done this kind of thing. His mind couldn't turn around for a while. After thinking about it, he suddenly slapped his forehead and said in shock, I understand. You mean, you make money and I take the blame? No. We made 2 sums of money, and it's clean money, so there won't be any problems. Link picked up a stack of money and threw it into the fat man's arms. In Miami, there is no personal income tax, no inheritance tax, and no tax on gifts from others. It is not only the commodity trading center of the Americas, but also a money laundering center. 50,000 is nothing. Is this money really okay? James felt that the money was hot, so Link simply threw all the money into his arms and asked him to take it back. Link waved his hand. He wiped James' sweat, put the money into the bag, stuffed it into his big belly, and walked out the door hesitantly. This fat man came here several times secretly, and there is something hidden in his belly. Are they next door? At the door of the next room, a ferocious looking face looked at James back through the crack of the door, seeming a little confused. Link. Taking drugs. Mario's pupils suddenly dilated. He stimulated his mind and thought about it over and over again. This was the only possibility. The fat man came in stealthily, like a thief breaking into the house. He hid something in his stomach, and he hid it when he left. The little time in between was enough for Link to take drugs. Can taking drugs alone solve the problem? There must be a urine test before the game, and the box's kept items must be checked after the game. Cheating will cause big trouble. Link would not have thought that the organizer's urine testing agency could not find out what he had broken through, right? Mario rolled his eyes and came to West's coaching lounge. West was watching the video of Andre Berto's game in the morning. Mario walked behind him twice and said in a low voice, "West, can you believe it? Link is taking K-powder in the lounge?" West was stunned and shook his head. "Impossible. He doesn't need it." "Really? I just saw the fat guy in his store sneak into his lounge with food in his stomach and then ran away quietly." "Don't talk nonsense. Link can't be on drugs." West waved his hand calmly and continued to watch the game video. Mario clenched his fists, took a few deep breaths, walked to Reggie who was taking a nap, and punched him to wake him up. "I swear, Link must be on drugs." Reggie rubbed his eyes, yawned under Mario's gaze, and covered his head with a blanket. Why don't you believe me?" Mario shouted angrily. Chapter 27 I report. "Hey, is this the news department of the Herald? I have a news clue, a very important news clue." In the telephone booth outside the American Airlines pavilion, someone called the Herald with a rough and weird voice, telling them that he had an important news clue related to the Southeast Division champion Link Baker. "I have reliable information that he and the agent of his next opponent, Anders Edge, are doing a private deal, and they are going to have a fake fight." "Sir, are you telling the truth? Does anyone have any witnesses or physical evidence?" "Matches evidence." Click. The phone was hung up, and the man walked out of the phone booth, looking at the starry sky. His blue eyes flashed, and he sneered, "Link, get ready to be a celebrity." Sniff. Sniff. Sniff then. "What are you hearing?" Link looked at Mario, who was shaking his big nose and sniffing in the lounge. "Link, Mario said you were taking drugs in the lounge." Reggie shrugged and laughed. "Are you crazy? How could I do such a thing?" Link shook his head and said, he came to the physical examination room for examination and put on hand bandages and gloves under the supervision of the staff of the Amateur Boxing Association. When wearing gloves and hand bandages, the staff will supervise on the spot. After confirming that everything is correct, before the start of the game, the referee will carefully check whether the seal has any damaged marks. Once damaged, the boxer will be asked to replace the gloves or stop the game. The reason for the lower part is very simple, to prevent someone from stuffing things in the gloves. For example, put 3 nuts on the joints of the back of the hand, put an iron ring on it, and then wrap it with a bandage, which will double the lethality of the fist during the game. Such small actions have appeared several times in regular competitions, and bloody incidents have occurred. After that, all boxing organizations were panicked and banned the appearance of glove seals. However, such small tricks still appear frequently in underground boxing rings, and the referees don't care. Link has been plotted against many times in this way, and the taste is very sour. The urine test procedure is very fast, and only the ingredients containing clear stimulants, products, and analgesics are checked, and no other tests are required. Link had never taken drugs, so his urine test was fine. Under Mario's suspicious gaze, he showed up with a strong back, well-developed chest muscles, and solid chocolate abdominal muscles. He raised his fists wrapped in red gloves, and strode out of the quiet passage. Boom. The sound of the scene was suddenly released, and huge sound waves were transmitted to the eardrums, one after another. Link. 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 Tens of thousands of Argentine spectators and Link's fans shouted his name. Link waved his fists 3 times in a row towards the sky and jumped onto the boxing ring. His opponent Anders Edge Fonfiller was already standing on the boxing ring, wearing fashionable white gloves and full of fighting spirit in his eyes. Anders Edge Fonfiller, 25 years old, is a Polish-American with white skin and a thin body. He is 189 centimeters tall, with arms of 198 centimeters, 6 centimeters longer than Link, and has fast techniques and speed in boxing. In boxing, he currently has a record of 52 wins, 1 loss and 1 draw in 54 fights. Before Link appeared, he ranked second in the preliminary boxing of the super middleweight class, only after Andre Berto. This is a very powerful and not very powerful person. His technique is powerful, and he has the advantage of arm length, so it is easy for him to get points in the game. It's not that his physical condition is powerful, but the powerlessness here is not. that his body is weak, but that his physical condition is a shortcoming relative to his technique. He once fought a dreadlock match with Morales, in which he used his fast technique to resist Morales' strong attack and triggered it with points. This type of boxer often achieves good results in amateur competitions. If he takes off the sponge protective gear to fight a professional battle, he probably won't have any outstanding performance. This is also one of the reasons why many boxers won gold medals in the Olympics and became unknown after turning professional boxers. For this type of boxer, what they fear most is the core technology of Link and Andre Berto, as well as opponents who are excellent in strength, speed, physical strength and resistance. After all, there is an Andre Berto. Berto is enough to give people a headache, and now there is an even more terrifying Link Baker. Anders Edge Ferrella has retained his position in the boxing ring, and his agent has to use his brain to think of another way, such as playing a few more circles. Playing a few more rounds looks better in news reports, and there is another more important reason, which is that it will have a smaller impact on the boxer's self-confidence. There are many people in the boxing circle who can often maintain a winning streak of more than 10, 20, 30, or even 40 games when they first enter the boxing circle, until they are defeated once, KO once, and their self-confidence will be greatly traumatized, leading to a collapse. There are many such things, and Tyson is a typical example. Before he was defeated by James Douglas in 1990, he maintained a record of 37 consecutive wins. After that, he was defeated and never recovered. Before 2005, his match data was 44 wins and 6 losses in 50 games. There is also his opponent, the legendary boxing figure Mitchell Spinks, who dominated the WBA, WBC and IBF heavyweight championships before meeting Tyson. But after being defeated by Tyson in a cycle in Las Vegas in June 1988, he immediately announced his retirement from boxing, with a professional record of 31 wins and 1 loss in 32 games. There is also Mitchell Spinks' old opponent Larry Holmes, who was Ali's sparring partner. Before meeting Mitchell Spinks, he had defeated a large number of powerful boxing champions, including Muhammad Ali. His winning streak was as high as 48 games. After being defeated by Mitchell Spinks, he suffered a series of defeats. In 1988, he met Tyson and was KO'd by Tyson after only 4 rounds. Therefore, in the boxing circle, boxers like Ali, George Foreman, and Holyfield who can cheer up and win back the gold championship after being defeated are the real powerful characters. Their strength is not only in their strength, but also in their strong psychological quality and indomitable will. They are also the ones who fight again and again after repeated defeats. At this time, Link's white boxer Anders Edge Ferrella, from the outside, is obviously not a determined person. His agent helped him spend money and smooth things over, and he also had good intentions. Link held the gloves, beat his chest muscles, and greeted his opponent. Anders Edge also beat his chest in response. The referee checked the seal, announced the rules of the game, and cut his hand hard. Boxing. The game started, bang. At the beginning, Anders Edge Ferrella's right fist was like a mantis arm, whooshing to Link's face with a sound of breaking wind. Link was surprised. This speed was really amazing, far exceeding the opponent he had fought before. The strength was also very good, not much worse than Mario. Ordinary boxers could not stop it. But Link was not an ordinary person. His reaction speed was even faster. When he saw Anders Edge's fist coming, he quickly turned his head and swung his fist towards Anders Edge's head, punching one after another. Can Anders Edge dodge it? The audience exclaimed loudly. Anders Edge's agent was even more worried. If this punch was real, Anders Edge might be knocked out instantly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28. He is just pretending to fight. Huh. Link's fist brushed past Anders Edge's chin. Wow. A sigh came from the audience. Link's arms are a little short, Anders Edge is taller than him, and dodged very quickly. West said regretfully. Anders Edge wiped the sweat off his forehead and breathed a sigh of relief. Only the eyes of many reporters at the scene remained suspicious. Before the game, they received calls from enthusiastic audiences saying that Link and Ender's Edge had a secret deal and were preparing to fight. Link's punch didn't hit, so it couldn't be a fake. With doubts, the reporters rushed to the boxing ring, trying to find evidence of Link's fake fight. On the boxing ring, Link and Ender's Edge punched forward, you attack and I defend, and hit each other's effective points. The fight was very exciting. The audience also shouted excitedly, cheering for the other side. From the first cycle to the 6th cycle, the opponent has maintained this state, and the fight is hard to tell, fully demonstrating the opponent's offensive and defensive techniques in boxing. But the reporters could not sense the strength. With Link's strength and speed, it was not difficult to knock out the skinny Ender's Edge. However, after 6 rounds, he did not knock out a single time. At most, he knocked Ender's Edge down on the ropes or corner posts. This was obviously not Link's style. The reporter suspected that the report call was real and Link was fake boxing with Ender's Edge. Bang, bang, bang. In the ring, the fight was in a circle, and both sides were sweating profusely. The punches they swung were often covered with sweat, but the match was also very exciting. Both sides attacked very quickly, often hitting each other's head, chest and abdomen, and often using fast punches, and the fight was very exciting. The audience was very satisfied and shouted one after another. KO, why didn't you knock out? It was exciting to watch, but with Link's level, the match should not be like this. Is Link here? Although he did not receive any notification from the mysterious man, the promoter, who was a frequent visitor to the ring, also realized and noticed some problems after seeing the 8th round. This looked a bit watery. Boss, I heard that Link wants to fake the fight. The assistant walked to Greg Cohen and whispered, it's the news from the reporters. Someone told them that Link and Andre George may have a deal in private. Really? What is he thinking? Greg Cohen caught up with Link on the stage and suddenly sneered, make money? Humph, don't go even if you give him 20 million. Make that little money? He is really not a smart man. Go contact the media and spread the news that Link Baker is having a fake fight. Yes, boss. Wait, what's going on with Franco Duva? Boss, Mr. Franco Duva seemed to have some unpleasantness in his communication with Mr. Duva Sr. Mr. Duva Jr. had already returned to New York on United Airlines at noon, leaving only his assistant summoning Jordan. Greg Cohen heard this and caught a glimpse of a satisfied smile at the corner of his mouth. Everything was as he expected. Mapletop Promotions has implemented a competitive mechanism of the capable are promoted and the mediocre are retired, and the family style management model implemented by major event promotion companies is extremely outdated. With more than a dozen world-class and intercontinental boxing champions such as Field, they will never agree to Little Duval to sign a boxer with a big contract. Little Duval's trip was definitely in vain. Greg Cohen looked at Link on the ring, clenched his fist, and had a determined smile on his face. Come on. Link, come on. Link champion. Come on Andre Siege. In the audience shouted 8 circles, and their voices were almost hoarse, but so what? It was much more exciting to see 2 boxing masters in person on the spot than to twist and turn in a bar or yell in a KTV. The boxers on the scene also opened their eyes and watched each other's game, watching their every move. Wonderful offense, wonderful defense, wonderful dodge, wonderful counterattack. Everyone was watching the 2 boxing masters. No way. And as EG is so thin, I can handle it with 1 punch. And Link played 9 circles with him? Could he really be taking drugs? His fists are so soft. Mario supported his face and watched the game on the stage board. Isn't this exciting? Why do they have to end it early? Raggy watched the game with great interest. Wes next to him held a candle and watched the video of each other's fight, ready to go back and let the apprentices in the boxing gym. But don't you think it's abnormal? With Link's level, he shouldn't fight like this. There is a problem here. Mario said. There is a problem, but I understand Link. Raggy looked at Link, his face full of admiration. Mario's eyes widened, not understanding what was worthy of admiration here. Is your admiration in the wrong place? Don't you believe it? Raggy turned around and smiled. If you meet a skilled boxer in the ring, will you fight him for a few more rounds to hone your skills? Mario looked at the big fist of the sandbag. No, I can only knock him down with 1 punch. Raggy shook his head and concluded, sighing, this is the gap between us and Link. We are in a hurry to defeat the opponent as soon as possible and win the game, but he is thinking about what to get from the game. This is why he is getting stronger and stronger. The reason is that he is not only strong, but also diligent, hardworking, and studious. We should all learn from him. Reggie looked at Link with admiration on his face, his eyes shining. Mario was going crazy. It's not like that at all, okay? It's obviously a fake fight. Get up. Mario, you can insult me, but please don't insult Link, okay? Reggie clenched his fist and said angrily. Mario opened his mouth. After living for 22 years, he felt for the first time that there might be something wrong with this world. West, don't you think there is something wrong with the infection? Link is just pretending to fight. Mario found West. West was an honest old man. Mario believed that he would not lie with his eyes open. So what? West was wearing a handheld camera. Mario was stunned and looked at the old man in disbelief. Link is pretending to fight. So what? Yes, Link and Ender's Edge fought for 9 rounds. In 8 rounds, he had an absolute advantage. He could trigger it with points alone. You know, Ender's Edge's skills are among the best in the boxing circle. Link fought with him without heavy punches or a strong body. He could defeat him with technology alone. This shows that Link has no shortcomings in boxing. He is a perfect boxer who defends everything. West stroked the stubble on his chin and smiled with great satisfaction. But he's fighting. Mario shouted angrily. Shut up. Link didn't intend to lose to the fake Ender's Edge. How can you say this is a fake fight? Don't say that again in the future. West said with a dark face. Mario returned to his seat dejectedly. He propped his face up and looked at the sky, sure that there was indeed something wrong with this world. Chapter 29 Friendship First Game 2. Bang. On the boxing ring, Ender's Edge punched Link on the forehead. At this moment, there was a cry of surprise from all around. Back fist. A flash of light. It was Link's fist. Before he could react, bang. The scene encountered a fierce threat, as if being run over by a car. Ender's Edge's neck twisted to the left. Saliva, snot, and sweat flew out. His head felt dizzy, and the world spun around. His body staggered 2 steps. Under the influence of gravity and center of gravity, he fell heavily to the floor. Exclamation mark. The audience was immediately excited. Although the previous 9 rounds were finally very exciting, what they wanted to see more was Link knocking out his opponent with a heavy punch. They had been waiting for this moment for a long time, and the emotions that had been inspired for a long time, at this moment, burst out like a flood in volcanic magma. Link. Champion. Link. Champion. The audience shouted loudly, and the fans were so excited that they could hardly control themselves. Some shouted loudly, some jumped up and down, and some took off their clothes and peed on the spot in order to vent the dopamine that could not be eliminated in their bodies and began to become overweight. Jay got up from the ground and twisted his neck. The referee asked him if he could continue, and Ender's Edge said yes. The 2 sides continued to fight again. In less than 3 rounds, Link used a set of defensive punches, left straight punch, right straight punch, left uppercut, and knocked Ender's Edge down again. Ender's Edge got up, punched him down. The roar at the scene became more intense, cheering for Link's wonderful KO and Ender's Edge's tenacity, and the sound waves were like the strong wind at the seaside. It's fake. It's all fake. With Link's punch, can't he knock down Ender's Edge with 3 punches? Chairman Mario looked at the audience. Tens of thousands of spectators were cheering for Link and applauding Link's misjudgment performance. Mario felt that he was a little depressed. He should find time to see a psychologist and do psychological counseling. Bang. Ender's Edge got up again and was knocked down again. The referee stood up and asked to stop the game. In a game, one side clearly had the advantage and knocked down the opponent twice in 1 round with a record of 10-5. Knocking down the opponent more than 3 times in 1 round, although mental illness appeared, it also showed that the gap between the 2 sides was far apart. The sudden person in this game is standing in the middle of the boxing ring, grabbing Link's arm and about to lift it up. Anders came through G, grabbed Link's hand, and raised it together, and shouted, "Link Baker." Wow. Link won. The audience shouted excitedly. The game was not only exciting, but also very moral. Link, congratulations on defeating Ender's Edge Funfuller and advancing to the finals. What do you want to say? The host of the scene held a microphone and came to Link. I only have one thing to say. Link panted. Friendship first, competition second, and played really well. Link also raised Ender's Edge's arm. Wow. Link is so gentlemanly. Link, champion. Link, champion. Link, champion. The audience and fans waved their arms and shouted excitedly. Link is so great. Not only is he great, but he also has a very strong sportsmanship. All of us should learn from him. Reggie wiped his tears and said. Mario rolled his eyes, feeling hopeless. It was clearly an imaginary boxing match. Why would there be so many idiots praising them? And sportsmanship, shit sportsmanship. Is fake boxing considered sportsmanship? Fuck. Are you sure they are fake boxing? On the stage, Greg Cohen frowned and looked at his assistant, expressing doubt about the assistant's news. If this is also boxing, then Link and Ender's Edge are really amazing. The two of them fought to the point of being indistinguishable from the real thing. No, it should be said that it is more real than a real boxing match, because it can rise to the level of sportsmanship. The assistant was also uncertain and said in panic, should we ask the media to withdraw the manuscript? Greg Cohen pinched his chin and thought for a moment, then waved his hand and said, no, if we don't withdraw it, we will spread it widely, saying that Link is suspected of faking boxing not only in this match, but also in the previous matches. Someone wants to create a boxing star, and the person who chose Link leaked the news that Franco Duva and Link are indeed too close. Boss, Link's record is 16 wins and 16 KOs in 16 fights. No one should believe that he cheated in the game, the assistant said nervously. Greg Cohen smiled with a crooked mouth. It's actually very true. Tyson Ali couldn't knock out his opponent in an amateur match, so how could Link do it? The audience must have this suspicion. We just need to make good use of this suspicion and magnify their suspicion to make the audience believe that there are problems with Link's 16 matches and even the next match. Seeing that the assistant wanted to do something else, he raised his hand to stop him. We just need to confuse the audience and label Link as a fake fighter. We don't need to completely destroy Link. If you want to destroy him, this alone is not enough. I understand. The assistant nodded. The match was over. When he stepped down, a reporter asked Link if he was a fake fighter. Link didn't explain, but went back to the lounge, then took a car back to the beach to rest, conserve his energy, and prepare for tomorrow's match. After he left, the reporters interviewed Ender's Edge, asking him if he had a fake fight with Link. Ender's Edge was shocked by the reporter's question. He said that he was very involved in the fight with Link and enjoyed the process of the game. He didn't understand why the media mistakenly thought he was a fake fighter. The reporter said that with Link's punch weight, the match should have ended earlier. Ender's Edge shook his head and said that the reporters were not boxers and did not know the meaning of boxing. The purpose of amateur boxing is not only to win, but also to hope that the process of the match, such a state of meeting a worthy opponent, is better than 1,000 words, better than 10 million words, so the innocent will be innocent, and he did not want to explain more. News of fake boxing on the internet, and in the traditional. The video of Link's 16 KOs in 16 fights is also popular on the internet. Some say that Link is powerful, has good skills and great strength, and will definitely become a boxing champion in the future. Some people think it is fake. Wearing sponge gloves and tools to hit opponents wearing sponge shockproofs. Can they knock them out? This is impossible. There must be a conspiracy. Even many well-known boxers have spoken out, believing that Tyson could not KO his opponents in 16 fights in the amateurs. How could Link, a light-skinned boy weighing less than 80 kilograms, do it? It must be fake. Shut up! Exclamation mark. Link's fans stood up and loudly defended Link, saying that Link's KO of opponents in every match from the regional competition to the finals was real, and there was video to prove it. It was impossible to fake it. Just because no one had faked it before, and Link did it now, it cannot be considered fake. The idea is accurate and precise. Miami media and Florida media also published articles to support Link Baker, believing that this was caused by Link's strange reputation and fear. They also at the National Boxing Association, the organizer of the Golden Gloves, online, asking the Boxing Association to come out to explain. The Boxing Association immediately stood up and publicly stated that there was absolutely no problem with the match, and there was no problem with Link's match. However, the doubtful voices on the internet are very handsome, and Link was still labeled as a fake boxing by netizens. At the same time, as a controversial figure, Link has positioned himself as the strongest media in the United States. The core issue of the controversy is whether Link has faked boxing. Is it true that his record of 16 wins and 16 KOs in 16 fights is fake because of his opponent's record? Such doubts make people look forward to Link's match against Andre Berto, the first amateur super middleweight tomorrow. Whether it is true or not, we will know after watching tomorrow's game. Chapter 30, The Boxing Champion's Bite. I want to forget something, a very important thing. After the most tense first day of the mobilization meeting, and the more tense day of the General Command, when Link walked into the General Command site at noon, looking at the American Airlines arena, he always felt that something was forgotten by himself, but he was too busy recently, and there were too many things in his mind, so he couldn't remember it for a while. He walked and thought for a while, and suddenly he got up. After putting that thing behind his mind, he didn't think about it anymore, and focused on the game in front of him. Link, there are a lot of news on the internet now, saying that you are a fake fighter. The previous 16 games were all fake. When you arrive at the game site, reporters will definitely ask about this. You have to be prepared. When West first met, West didn't look that old. Because he was too busy, he had white stubble and white hair all over his face, and he looked at least 10 years older. West, don't worry about everything. I'm here. I can handle it. Link smiled nonchalantly. Mario looked at him with strange eyes from behind. How could this guy be so relaxed? Didn't he know how much doubts there were on the internet? He didn't sleep last night. He spent the whole night browsing the boxing forums to see what people think of Link. He found that most people in the forums were questioning Link's fake boxing, saying that all 16 KOs were fake and were a trick used by the boxing promotion company. They wanted to create a boxing star, and Link was the chosen one. Link might have some strength, but he couldn't be that good. As a part of Link's team, Mario also knew that Link's results were not fake, but seeing someone scolding Link, he felt inexplicably happy. Hey, Link, you probably don't know how many people on the internet are saying that you're fake boxing, right? Mario squeezed Regi aside and walked in front of Link's brother, ready to put some pressure on Link and see Link's reaction. He grinned and said in an exaggerated tone, a lot, you know? In front of WBC WBA IBF heavyweight champion Bernard Hopkins, former WBA heavyweight champion Chris Bird, Hashim Rahman, James Toney, Giant Valuv, etc. They all publicly stated that even in their prime, they could not knock out their opponents in amateur competitions. They said that your punch weight was beyond their imagination. They questioned whether you were faking it. Do you understand? Oh, and there is also Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. said that, if it is true, your achievements in the future may be greater than those of Ali and Tyson, but the premise must be true. Link, how do you feel after hearing this? Where did you see the news? Why didn't I see it? Regi sent. There are many such posts on the Yahoo Boxing forum. They are very good. I recommend you to take a look. Mario chased Link's face and smiled. Thank you. They are talking nonsense. Link's achievements are all real. There is no fraud. The Boxing Association has also come forward to explain. Why don't they believe it? Regi asked dissatisfiedly. Mario ignored him and smiled at Link. Hey, Link, why don't you say anything? How do you feel? Link looked at him and smiled. Mario, if one day in the future you succeed and you want to know how powerful you are, you don't need to ask others. Just think about who your opponents are. If your opponents are powerful and strong, it means you are truly successful. I'm just a boxer, but I encountered a joint attack from several boxing champions and boxing celebrities. It seems that I really succeeded and became a person that even boxing champions have to treat with caution. This is an encouragement and I'm very excited. Mario looked at Link in amazement. Others scolded him, but he took it as encouragement. Still excited. Is there something wrong with this guy's brain? That's very well said. Regi took out his mobile phone and wrote down Link's words in the notebook. Mario rolled his eyes. Through last night's news, he figured it out. There was nothing wrong with him in the world. It was Reggie, West, and Link's fans who had problems. They were all poisoned by a person called Link. Link came to the lounge, changed into his competition gear, and strode into the competition venue. When he walked out of the passage, a large group of reporters came over from the strong crowd. There were hundreds of people, blocking the exit tightly. They rushed to squeeze into the first row, competed to hand out their guns, and asked Link a tricky question. "Mr. Link Baker, I'm a reporter from the American Express. Someone reported that you cheated in the competition, and suggested that the Boxing Association conduct a strict investigation. What is your response?" "Mr. Link Baker, some people think that there are problems with your first 16 games, and your competition results and qualifications should be cancelled. What is your explanation?" Mr. Link Baker, former middleweight boxing champion Bernard Hopkins said that, if your opponent is him, he can knock you out in one round. He thinks your strength is over-exaggerated by the media, and is not true. Will you compete with him in the boxing ring? The reporters put the microphone to his mouth, as if they were going to feed him ice cream. Link took a step back, waved his hand, pointed at several reporters who were asking questions and said, "I don't like the way you ask questions. I really don't like it. When you interview me, please don't use unprofessional words like someone or netizens. I hope to hear a real name, a person who can take legal responsibility, and you, Mr. Reporter from the Washington Daily News, you mentioned Bernard Hopkins. He is the former middleweight champion, right? If he still has the gold label, I'm willing to fight him, but he has nothing now. I don't think it is necessary to fight him." Hearing Link's words, the reporters quickly changed the form of their questions. The reporter from the American Express said loudly, "Mr. Link Beck, in yesterday's match between you and Anders Zidja, many people thought you could knock out Anders Zidja in one round. Why did you fight until the 9th round? Our newspaper received a report call, and the person claimed that you had no time limit transactions in private. Isn't that true?" After the reporter of American Express asked, the other reporters all held the recorder, raised their heads, and stretched out their arms, looked at him expectantly, and opened their mouths and said, "Mr. Reporter, I feel helpless about your question, because you did not do any collective homework before the interview, and you did not know what the significance of Olympic basketball games is, nor what the difference between Olympic basketball games and professional games is. I'm here to tell you that professional games value results, and who has the boxing champion and the gold badge. The purpose of the Amateur Boxing Association to organize the Golden Gloves competition is to exchange punches between young boxers, learn from each other, and make progress together. The reason why I came to participate in the Golden Gloves competition, in addition to winning the championship, is another important purpose, which is to learn the skills of my peers and accumulate competition experience. I'm a power boxer, and I often study boxing techniques. I think I have boxing skills. I met Mr. Anders Zedge, who is almost the best in my peers. What's the matter with this rare opportunity? How could I waste it? If I hadn't promised the boxing fans in advance that I would KO my opponent, I would even want to fight him for 10 rounds. Mr. Reporter, do you understand what I mean? The reporter nodded. Mr. Baker, you mean that the match between you and Anders Zedge is not about saving the result, but about saving the process of the match and learning from each other. But if you are willing to knock him out in one round, you can do it, right? Question mark? Link glanced at the other party, a little impressed by his ability to dig a hole. At first, he agreed with you, and then he dug a hole for you. As long as you speak, it can be written in the news tomorrow. Link admits that he can take turns to solve Anders Zedge. When the netizens who didn't know the truth saw it, wasn't this a clear admission of fake boxing? Link shook his guess. He didn't intend to admit it, nor did he intend to deny it. If he let others talk about it, the topic would not end early. If there was a topic in the news, this was the result he wanted. Chapter 31. I want to challenge all boxing champions. He turned his eyes to the second row, where there was a reporter with HBO's iconic Identity, a tall female reporter wearing a beige suit, and the most beautiful of the group of reporters. Ms. Reporter, what is your question? Mr. Link Baker, boxing champion Bernard Hopkins, as well as boxing champions Chris Bide, Hashim Rahman, James Toney, and Giant Valuv. They openly questioned your punching weight, believing that it is impossible for a normal person to knock out an opponent 16 times in a row in an amateur match. They also think that there is something wrong with the match. What is your response to this? The reporter asked with a smile, blinking her big eyes. Linkstein spread his hands and smiled regretfully. I haven't seen the relevant reports, so I'm not sure they didn't say these words, but I make a promise here. All those who doubt my boxing ability, whether it's Hopkins, Chris Bird, James Toney, or the 213 centimeters tall Valuv, or any other boxing champion, if they don't believe in my strength, after I change my job, they can come to challenge me. Ownership, no matter what level, as long as they can last 3 rounds in my donation. Link looked at all the reporters and said in a sonorous manner, even if I lose. What? The scene was silent for 2 seconds, and then exploded with a bang. What did Link say just now? He said that, after he enters the professional boxing arena, everyone can come to challenge him, no matter what level, as long as they can last 3 rounds in his donation, even if he loses? Is he serious? He, a super middleweight boxer, challenged all professional boxers? Is he crazy? West's mind was also blown. Link's answers to the first few questions were decent, but then he suddenly made a bold statement, saying that he would defeat all challengers in 3 rounds, regardless of weight class. This was too arrogant. If it got out, people would definitely call him Big Talker Link, or Mouth Cannon Link. Mr. Link Baker, you just said that you can accept the challenge of all heavyweight owners, as long as they can insist on 3 donations in your donation. You will lose. The owners here include Holyfield, Mayweather, De La Hoya, Roy Jones Jr., Joe Calzaghe, Vladimir Klitschko brothers, David Tua, etc. All boxers? The HBO female reporter was so excited that her face flushed, and she burst out the names of more than a dozen popular boxing champions. As long as Link dared to say yes, it would appear in the news immediately. Link challenged these boxing champions, believing that they could not insist on 3 donations in his donation. This news will definitely be the most active sports news today and in the future. Link looked at the female reporter and smiled gently. Beautiful reporter, there is a premise for what I said just now. All those who doubt me and are unfriendly to me can come and challenge me. If those boxing champions you mentioned don't believe in my strength, I will also accept the challenge. 3 rounds. Everyone is equal. Hey, Mr. Baker, don't you think you are a little too arrogant? The reporter from the American Express shouted. Link shrugged and said indifferently, the power is too strong, and I can't let it go. Boom. The reporters were stunned by his words. How arrogant is this man, to say such extremely arrogant and extremely unacceptable words? Westman covered his old face, and his old face, which had been dark for more than 60 years, couldn't help but turn red at this moment. Link, Roy Jones Jr. also publicly questioned you. Will you challenge him after changing jobs? The reporter from the Herald asked. Judging from the performance of the Herald in this era, it is obvious that one side is leaning towards its own newspaper. Link did not mind giving the other side a very eye-catching news. He chuckled and said, Mr. Roy Jones Jr. has always been a boxer predecessor that I respect very much. I'm so good at boxing and have been influenced by him and Tyson. But I'm very sorry for his public questioning. Considering that he is an old predecessor that I respect and is 37 years old, I will only use 1 round when competing with him. If it exceeds 2 rounds, I will lose. Link, stop talking nonsense. West was sweating when he heard it from behind. It was said that the other boxer would be beaten in 3 circles before, but it became 1 circle when it came to Roy Jones Jr. This was not a provocation, but an insult. They were fascinated by Roy Jones Jr.'s fists. Who knows how they would scold Link? West pulled Link's arm and asked him to restrain himself and not be so presumptuous, as it would be easy to be beaten. Link finally gave West a reassuring look and told him not to worry too much. Even if he aroused the anger of all the boxing champions, those boxing champions would not come to fight him. Because the boxing champions have promotion companies behind them, and if they participate in a competition with no chance of winning or no money, those boxing champions will not fight him with the gold belt. If they win, it's fine, but if they lose, they have to hand over the gold belt, which is not worth the loss. In addition, Link is not afraid of losing to them. He has only practiced for more than a month, and his boxing skills, strength, speed, and reaction ability have been greatly improved. If he trains for another year or two, he doesn't think there are many people in the boxing circle who can be his opponents. He is not afraid of them coming, but he is afraid that they dare not come. This group of reporters was probably full of the few explosive materials he threw out. After asking a few questions casually, they generously untied the encirclement and let him go. "Hey, Reggie, what do you think of hearing your rival talking nonsense here?" Mario bumped his arm and smirked at Reggie, who was stunned. Reggie retracted his gaze and exclaimed, "Link is amazing. He is a boxer with strength, wisdom and courage. A perfect boxer. I want to learn from him." "Are you crazy?" Mario grabbed Reggie's shoulders and shook him hard, yelling, "Reggie, wake up, okay? Link is just a guy who likes to brag and likes to attract attention. He is not as amazing as you think." No, you are wrong, Mario. This is not bragging, nor is it attracting attention. This is self-marketing. As a boxer, Link is always thinking about promoting himself, and today is the case. He took the opportunity to issue a challenge to all the boxing champions, which is self-marketing. I dare say that after these news are reported, Link's status in the boxing world will soar, comparable to a second-rate boxing champion. If he turns professional, his appearance fee for each game will be at least over 1 million, more than 1 million. Mario, if I ask you to market yourself, how can you make your TV series reach the level of a second-rate boxing champion? Reggie looked at Mario with burning eyes. Mario scratched his head. He naturally had no way to deal with it, but he could never approve of Link's approach. But he actually challenged all the boxers. Isn't this just bragging? How can he beat the master? Why not? Reggie shook his head and looked at Link, who was walking up to the ring. He exclaimed, "A long time ago, a Chinese neighbor of mine once told me that a truly courageous person would dare to rush forward alone, even if there were 10,000 enemies blocking the way. Link is such a person." Mario imagined a scene of rushing to kill a person and curled his lips and said, "This is not courage, this is stupidity." Reggie glanced at him and shook his head. No, you don't understand, and you will never understand." Mario looked at him and suddenly became furious. He clenched his fists and punched him a few times. "Fuck, you damn guy, didn't you forget that I taught you boxing, and you dare to pretend in front of me?" Reggie was beaten so hard that he bared his teeth and fled like a wolf. Chapter 32, 5 rounds. Hey, dear audience friends, good afternoon. I'm your old friend Steve Mandanda, and I'm currently at Link Champion. Link Champion. Sorry, wait a minute, it's too tense here. I may need to change positions. At the match, Steve Mandanda, the host of HBO Sports Channel, waved to the cameraman scene and covered his ears and returned to the corner on the left side of the ring. After Link walked onto the ring, the audience shouted Link's name loudly, and the huge sound waves were deafening, easily drowning him out. At the corner, there was a billboard exposed, and the shouting became a little quieter. The host Steve Mandanda exhaled, gave the cameraman a thumbs up, and the cameraman turned the camera back on. Steve put on his clothes, took a cigarette with the HBO logo, smiled and said to the camera, "Hey, dear audience friends, good afternoon. I'm your old friend Steve Mandanda. I'm now in the American Airlines Center in Miami. That's right, the home stadium of the NBA Heat. What I'm recruiting today is not an interview with Wade or other players. I heard that they are on vacation in Phuket, but it is indeed enviable. There is a game at the American Airlines Arena today. Audience friends who are familiar with boxing should know that every May and June, the Boxing Association will organize a boxer competition nationwide, which is the Golden Gloves Boxing Championship. Starting from the one sponsored by the Chicago Tribune in 1926, 53 sessions have been held nationwide, or in various cities. Every year, the Golden Gloves Boxing Championship attracts thousands of boxers to sign up, and this year is no exception. According to statistics from the Boxing Association, this year a total of 1,403 boxers from all over the country signed up for boxing competitions of various levels, which is the largest number of young people who have signed up in the past decade. Link Champion. A shout suddenly came from the audience, interrupting Steve Mandanda's broadcast again. He smiled at the camera, waved his fist and said, "That's right, Link, champion." There were many outstanding new boxers in the previous Golden Gloves Championship, including Iron Man Morales, Jones Fullers who defeated the Northern Division champion by surprise, and Andre Berto, the boxing championship champion who is known to many people, and Andrzej Fonfala, an Eastern European boy famous for his boxing skills. However, the most famous one is. Steve covered his ears with his hands and raised the microphone. "Link, champion." The audience shouted. "That's right, it's Link Baker, a young man born in Miami Beach, 20 years old, a super middleweight boxer. According to his coach, he has been learning boxing for less than 3 years, and the preliminary Golden Gloves Boxing Championship was his first boxing match, but he has achieved impressive results in this week's championship. From the Miami Regional Championship to the finals, he reversed 16 games, won 16 games, and knocked out 16 opponents, including Mario Morales, Jones Fullers, and Andrzej Fonfara. Ring magazine said that this is a record-breaking achievement that Ali, Tyson, and Mayweather have never achieved. Ring magazine said that he is one of the most anticipated rookies in the boxing world this year. After 4 rounds of competition, today at the American Airlines Arena in Miami, the Golden Gloves Championship will also usher in the finals. In the past, the biggest highlight of the championship was the heavyweight competition. But it was different in the early stage. After a vote by an audience member on the scene, 86.2% of the audience wanted to watch the super middleweight competition in the main stadium. The organizer finally decided to hold the super middleweight competition in the main stadium. Today, the elephant boxers who will hold the deciding level competition in the main stadium in the super middleweight competition are Link Baker and his opponent Andre Berto. The cameraman named the camera at the elephant boxer on the fire station. On the brightly lit boxing ring, there were 2 sturdy young men, one black and one white, standing together, with a referee in a black shirt and white gloves standing in the middle. Steve continued to do the live report. The man wearing white shorts, white boxing gloves, and a sturdy figure is the boxer Andre Berto, 181 centimeters tall, 188 centimeter arm length, 76.8 kilogram weight, 20 years old this year, 38 amateur records, 37 wins and 1 draw. Once reached the U19 National Championship and the National Stock Market Champion. It is said that many boxing promotion companies have extended olive branches to him, and Andre Berto also plans to switch to professional boxing after the Golden Gloves boxing. In the red boxing suit opposite him, the sturdy boxer is tonight's protagonist Link Baker, whose amateur record is 16 fights and 16 KO opponents to death. Before the finals, he publicly demonstrated that he would use the method of KOing all opponents to enter the finals and win the championship. Just yesterday, in this boxing ring, he knocked out 2 excellent boxers, Morales and Andrzej, and successfully advanced to the finals. Here today, he will continue his KO legend and win the championship, or be defeated by his opponent and regrettably miss the Golden Gloves. Please wait and see. After the report, Steve exhaled a long breath, took a bottle of water from his assistant, drank a sip, gulped it in his mouth, and spit it on the ground. "Mr. Mandanda," the organizer asked, "if you want to interview your opponent, they are about to start the game." An on-site assistant ran over and said. Steve looked at the boxing ring, nodded and said, "Link is a guy who is very good at making trouble. It would be nice to interview him." The work assistant nodded and ran over to notify. Steve walked towards the boxing ring with a camera. HBO is a football broadcasting party, and boxing broadcasts are the focus of HBO TV. Usually they broadcast professional boxing matches and make money through PPV payment. Occasionally, they will broadcast some more popular amateur matches. But in the past, HBO only broadcast a large proportion of the industry's heavyweights every year. This year, a dazzling newcomer, Link Baker, appeared in the super middleweight class, which attracted people's attention. Therefore, HBO also changed the broadcast target to the super middleweight class. Steve trotted and sat on the boxing ring. He first greeted the audience and walked to Andre Bertoli, handing him a microphone. "Good afternoon, Andre. Standing next to you is Link Baker, the boxing anesthesiologist who KO'd his opponent 16 times before. Will you be nervous to compete with him?" Andre Vito bulged his sturdy arms, bared his white teeth, and smiled. "Of course not. He is the one who should be nervous. I can't fight with him like other boxers. I will beat him with my iron fist, and then tell the master that boxers are made by fists, not by cheating." Wow. There were bursts of exclamations at the scene. Link narrowed his eyes and raised the corners of his mouth. When he first communicated with Andre Vito, he was polite and friendly, but when facing the camera, he smiled and threw dirty water on him in person. Zoom. The host Steve also shouted exaggeratedly and handed the microphone to Link. "Link, Andre said you were cheating. What are you talking about?" Link shrugged and smiled. "There's nothing to say. For opponents who deserve respect, such as Andre's e.g., I'm willing to conduct one more questionnaire with him to exchange and learn. When I meet an opponent who is not worthy of respect, I don't mind ending the game early." Andre Vito, you said I was cheating? Very good. To prove you wrong, I will KO you within 5 rounds. Please be prepared to fail. Wow. Wow. What did I hear? Steve shouted exaggeratedly again, holding a cigarette and shouting to the audience. Link said he would KO Andre Vito within 5 circles. Wow. This is an amateur match, and Andre Vito is the #1 amateur boxer in the super middleweight class. Oh my god, did I hear it right? Link, are you sure you want to KO Andre Vito within 5 rounds? Yes, I only need 5. Link clenched his fist and said to the microphone. Wow. Link. Champion. Link. Come on. The audience heard Link's shout from the radio and shouted excitedly. Andre Berto on the opposite side clenched his fists tightly, bit his white teeth fiercely, and stared at Link angrily. The host Steve handed the microphone to Andre Berto again. Andre, Link said he would knock you out within 5 rounds. How do you respond to him? Andre Berto glared at Link and shouted, he is dreaming. I used my iron fist to teach him a lesson, knocked him out, and made him lie on the ground like a terror, begging for mercy from me. Steve took the microphone and wanted to ask Link what he thought, but then the referee came over to remind him that the game time was up. Steve put away the microphone in his hand and left the scene with the cameraman. Chapter 33, Superior Horses and Inferior Horses. The anger of both sides in the boxing ring has been provoked by the unscrupulous host Steve. Andre Berto glared at Link angrily, his anger value bursting. Link looked at him calmly. He just appeared in public and ended the fight within 5 rounds. 5 rounds and 10 minutes of competition time. 10 minutes to knock out a strong man. It is not easy, and the intensity must be trained. Andre Berto's fists are very powerful, fast, and technical. He is an opponent with relatively comprehensive abilities. The elephant must find his inferior horse to solve him within 5 circles. Use your superior horse to defeat his inferior horse to win. What is Andre Berto's inferior horse? When Link watched the video, he did not finally determine the obvious flaws, but it did not mean that there was no solution. After thinking about it, he decided to start with physical strength. The biggest limitation of the human body is insufficient physical strength. Excessive consumption will reduce the body's functions and coordination, and various problems caused by insufficient physical strength will appear. This is also called the weak period. If a person has endless physical strength, he can be called a superman. Although Link is not a superman and does not have endless physical training, his physical strength is amazingly beyond that of ordinary people. When diving in the sea, ordinary people will get tired in half an hour, but he can swim for half a day. In the boxing gym, 6 hours a day is just what Mario and the others see. When he returns home, he still trains for more than 10 hours a day, and his physical strength will be restored the next day. Physical strength is his trump card that can dominate the boxing world, and it is his superior horse that others can never catch up with. Link looked at Andre Berto and had an idea in his mind. Andre Berto glared at him and moved his mouth to silently say that he was a kid who faked a fight. Link smiled unintentionally. Boxing. The on-site referee checked that before the game. Andre Berto glared at him with vicious eyes, but after the game started, he took 2 steps back, more than 1 meter away from him, and sat down again with a serious expression. This is a calm and rational black man. Some people say that you should not play with your brain with black people. That is bullying. But if you meet a black man who can use his brain, it will be quite bad. They have small heads, small targets, strong muscles and bones, and well-developed motor nerves. They are natural athletes and natural boxers. With a smart brain, their fighting power is absolutely strong. Seeing Andre retreat, Link waved his fist and took the initiative to attack the opponent. His strategy is to use the fastest speed to challenge and consume a lot of the opponent's physical strength. When executing tactics, you must move, master the rhythm of the game in your own hands, use your own movements to adjust the opponent's movements, and never let the opponent rest on the side. Bang bang bang. Link's first move was the most skilled and fastest left, jab plus right jab plus left, jab plus right jab. Manda completely gave up defense and greeted Andre's head like raindrops. The first 5 punches represented Andre's arm punch. The 6th one broke his defense and hit his left eyebrow arch. Andre was enraged and waved his fist at him at a very fast speed. Link noticed it sideways and threw a backhand back fist, hitting Andre's forehead hard. He was 5 centimeters taller than Andre, so the head position would be a little higher. His ability to resist blows was very good. With the protective gear on his head, he stabilized his body with just a stumble. Andre, defend, don't fight hard. Andre's coach shouted from the audience. Listen to your fists firmly and protect your head tightly. He also understood what the counselor meant. Link publicly participated in the 5 rounds of the battle. As long as he persisted in the 5 rounds, how would Link continue to fight? Link saw that Andre adopted a plan of strict defense and defense, which was a bit restrained. Andre had a small head and strong arms. He crossed his arms to protect his head and wanted to break through the difficulty. But now, he can only do his best and push himself. If he doesn't push himself, he can burst out his greatest potential. Link changed his punch combination, replacing the jab that broke the defense with the strongest and heaviest straight punch. Bang bang bang. 1 punch, 5 hits were dodged by Andre, 2 hit his arm, and the last hit his forehead. Andre was hit and staggered, but stabilized his body again, and his ability to resist blows was at its peak. Exclamation mark. Come on, Link. Hit hard. Link's fans in the audience shouted loudly, and the atmosphere was very lively. Link said he wanted to KO Andre Berto in 5 circles. Can he do it? It's too difficult. I don't believe he can do it. That's right. Andre Berto is not worse than him. Relatively speaking, after fighting for 10 circles, Link may be able to trigger it with a slight advantage in points, but it is absolutely impossible to KO Andre Berto in 5 circles. It's not bad to lose. Link is young and likes to brag. He should be taught a lesson. In the audience, a group of promoters chatted while watching the game. Greg Cohen looked at Link, who kept punching his opponent in the boxing ring with a smile, and his eyes were full of appreciation and teasing. There are many news about Link's boxing on the internet, as well as news about several boxing champions questioning Link. Some of them are the result of the operation of his staff, and some of them are probably made up by Link's opponents. After all, his recent fake performance showed that the 2 forces merged, which led to a lot of rumors on the internet. But because the Miami media supported Link and the Boxing Association also spoke for Link, the doubts were suppressed. In the debate between the 2 sides, Link became famous. Not worth it. He was going to give up this plan and use other methods to put pressure on Link. But just now, Link suddenly announced that he would knock out Andre Berto within 5 rounds. To knock out a strong man with the same strength as him within 5 rounds? Greg Cohen laughed after hearing this. Link was too arrogant. He fought with Jones Foles for 9 rounds before he barely won. Andre Berto was stronger than Jones. He wanted to knock out the opponent in the 5th round, which was impossible. As long as Link didn't do it, the media would inevitably question his fake boxing, and the public would gradually believe that he was fake boxing. With the reputation of fake boxing, his career in the boxing circle will inevitably be affected. When the time comes, he can be signed with a blue-collar contract. All this is thanks to Link. Thinking of this, Greg Cohen couldn't help but smile. The reason why he wanted to sign Link was not only because he was strong and could make money, but also because he was too strong and posed a threat to the boxing champions, promoted by Classic Promotions. Just take him down and let him fight the boxing champions of other companies. If necessary, give up the gold belt or let him deliberately give it to Mayweather. Mayweather will increase his winning rate and Top Promotions will also be invincible. Greg Cohen smiled complacently. Kit, you are too young. If you want to be a boxing champion, you can't just rely on your fists. I will definitely win this round. Chapter 34. Kill, kill, kill. Bang. Link punched Andre Berto in the side of his face. Andre Berto fell back and hit the ropes. Link was about to take advantage of the victory when a bell rang from the audience. The round was over. Link returned to the rest area to rest, sweating profusely. Link, don't worry. If you can't win in 5 rounds, just play a few more rounds. The match is 10 rounds, and no one stipulates that it must happen within 5 rounds. West persuaded. West, don't worry. I said that I would end the fight within 5 rounds. I'm committed to achieving it. No matter how difficult it is, I can do my best to achieve it. Link clenched his fist and said with a firm look in his eyes, "Oh, that's a nice thing to say." Mario curled his lips and said to Raggy from the audience, "Write it down quickly." Link said that he would KO Andre within 5 circles. No matter how difficult it is in the early stage, he can do it. It's inspiring. You should remember it. Raggy nodded and took out his phone to write it down. Mario touched his big belly and laughed. Link glanced at him, raised his fists, and strode to the center of the ring. Andre Berto also stood up and walked over, biting his cheek hard, staring at Lin. "Keep defending, and see if I can smash your turtle shell." Link shook his fist and laughed. "You won't be able to hold on for long, and the champion must be me." Andre glared. "Wait and see." The referee came over to warn that no chatting was allowed in the ring. In the second round, Link continued to attack fiercely, throwing 84 punches in a row, 12 of which hit Andre's head, and one punch knocked Andre directly to the corner post. If he hadn't climbed up the ropes in time, this might have been a KO. But he still failed to knock Andre down, and he was eliminated in the bottom 3 of the game. Link, don't be anxious. Take your time, attack his head when you punch, and don't waste your energy, West advised. Link nodded. Boxing matches look simple, 2 people swinging their fists to hit each other, but within 2 or 3 minutes of a round, throwing 60 punches can consume 1/5 of a normal person's physical strength, or more. Those who can fight for more than 10 rounds in a row and last to the end, are all people with super physical strength. Link punched more than 80 times in 2 consecutive rounds. Although he was physically strong, he could not keep up the output. At the opposite corner, "I can't just defend, I have to fight back," Andre Berto said when he returned to the rows to rest. "Andre, hold on a little longer, hold on for 5 rounds, and see what Link will do," his coach advised. Andre shook his head and panted and said, "You didn't fight him, so you don't know how strong his fist is. His fist weighs at least 1,000 pounds. It hurts through the sponge pad. If I hold on for another 3 circles, I might be killed by his fist. Can't you defend hard?" The coach frowned. "It's difficult. Not only is his punch heavy, but his speed is also fast, especially his jab, which is extremely fast and has a tricky angle. If you are slow to defend, you will be hit." Andre touched the wound on his brow bone and nose bridge with his fist. If he hadn't been faster in defending, his nose bridge would have been almost broken by Link. His ribs were also aching, even though he was wearing a high elastic sponge armor. "Hold on for another round." Link attacked fiercely for a round and delivered nearly 200 punches. There won't be much physical strength left. Let him attack for another round, and you can attack again in the next round, the coach thought. Berto thought for a while and nodded. After the doctor helped to treat the wound, he walked towards Link with his fist raised. "This round, I will knock you down at least once." Link laughed. "Don't even think about it." Andre Berto snorted coldly. The referee came up and gave a warning, and the game began. Bang bang bang. Link continued to hit Andre's head and ribs with heavy punches. His speed was obviously slower and his attack frequency dropped significantly, but Andre hit so many heavy punches At 88 in the third round, Link hit Andre's left ribs with a left jab, and Andre held his arm, lowered his center of gravity, and used the floor. Link raised his fist and took the opportunity to hit Andre's head with a right swing. Andre's body shook, and he followed up with a swift jab to hit Andre's brow bone. Andre screamed, staggered, and fell to the ground. Boom. The audience seats, which had been silent for a long time, suddenly started to make noises. The shouts of the two circles rang in my mind, and also burst out from the mouths of boxing fans. Link, come on. Link, champion. Link, one more punch. The fans stood up and shouted loudly. They had just heard Link's words, that he would knock out Andre in 5 rounds. This time, the words were too harsh and too dangerous. As time passed, Link still hadn't seen the next knockout. Everyone was secretly worried about Link. At this time, Andre fell to the ground, and the fans also saw the hope that Link would defeat Andre in 5 rounds. Everyone jumped up excitedly and couldn't help but let go of the noisy children and cheer for Link at the highest volume. More than 17,600 people came to the scene today, filling the seats of the United Airlines Arena tightly. Most of them came for Link. The Golden Gloves finals were held in Miami. If a Miami player won it, it would become a good story, a common honor for Miami people. At this time, no one didn't hope that Link would win. Seeing that Link finally knocked out Andre once, thousands of people applauded and cheered excitedly, and the huge sound waves almost broke the roof of the American Airlines Arena. 10, 9, 8. As soon as the referee counted to 3, Andre stood up shakily, and the fans sighed in disappointment. Boxing. 32 seconds before the end of the third round, Link wanted to take advantage of the victory and get another KO in these 32 seconds. Bang. Just as he was punching Andre one after another, Andre, who had been shrinking for a long time, suddenly punched and hit his left lower jaw with an uppercut. Fortunately, Link reacted quickly enough. When he saw the opponent's attack, his head smoothly tilted to the side, so he was not hit steadily. The huge force from the top of Andre's fist also made him stagger, and he took 2 steps back to stabilize his steps. Andre saw that he had succeeded in one move, so he was not relenting, but waved his fist to attack him actively. There were also some surprises. He was not afraid of Andre's attack, but was afraid that Andre insisted on shrinking and besieging him. When Andre was shrinking, Afghanistan needed to break his defense first to hit his vitals. It was common that only one punch could hit 10, which was very consuming. But now the situation is different. Andre gave up the defensive tactics and took the initiative to attack. When attacking, he would inevitably expose more flaws. Link could hit his head and eyes without heavy punches. Bang. Andre hit Link's chin with a right uppercut. Link threw a right swing punch and hit Andre's temple hard. Although there was a sponge protective gear to protect it, the huge impact was also distressing. The two were hit almost at the same time. Link staggered a step, and Andre tilted 3 or 4 steps to the left, and held the ropes to stabilize his body. Link took advantage of the victory to block, and pressed Andre on the ropes. Crackling, a group of people threw 8 jabs in succession, hitting Andre's nose, chin, and ribs respectively. Andre reached out to hug him, and used the hugging tactics. Break. The referee came over, and pulled the two apart. Link retracted his fist and stepped back. Asking the referee Andre if he was okay, Andre said he was fine, but when he looked at Link, there was a flame of anger in his eyes, and he wanted to punch him to death. Link also looked at him coldly, with a contemptuous smile on his face. Ding ding ding. The third round ended and returned to the rest area. Come on, Link. Come on, Link. Raggy kept chanting in his ear. Link. Champion. Link. Champion. James, Daniel, and Michael were also in the audience, shouting loudly with hundreds of neighbors on the Seaside Avenue. Link's fans also took the opportunity to shout. Link didn't need to look at it to know how many people were looking forward to his chest at this time. For these people who supported him, how could he disappoint them? How could he disappoint them? Kill. 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 Link stood up, clenched his fists, puffed up his whole body, and roared 3 times. This was the action he used to cheer himself up in the boxing ring. Reggie and Mario didn't understand, and they were confused. They just thought he wanted to come here. There were many cold atmospheres, which looked very fascinating. Mario was terrified, thinking that this guy must have killed someone before. The fourth round began. Andre took the initiative to attack, and his attack was a set of extremely powerful left straight punch plus right straight punch plus left hook. Andre's arms were short, and his attack speed was fast and powerful. But Link was faster and more powerful than him, and his arm was 4 centimeters longer than his. When defending, Link did not take advantage. But when changing punches, Link took advantage. He used a strong right hook to dismantle Andre's combination punches, and then threw an unreasonable heavy punch to Andre's chin. Andre took 3 steps back and hit the ropes. Link stepped forward and hit Andre's ribs and head with another wave of super fast jabs. Bang, bang, bang. Andre once again implemented the hugging tactic to break his attack, and Link took the opportunity to hit him with 2 more hooks in the ribs. Break. The referee stepped forward to separate them, warned Andre and Link once each, and announced that the game would continue. Andre, hold him, the match is almost over. Andre's coach shouted. Hearing Andre's coach shouting that the match was about to end, Link suddenly became anxious. He ignored Andre's straight punch and threw a fierce back punch, which hit Andre's right face hard. Bang. Almost at the same time, Link's mouth corner was hit. Link took a step back. Seeing that he was about to fall, he stepped back 2 steps and his back hit the ropes. Andre staggered 3 steps and fell sideways on the ring. Wow. Another KO. Link, champion. Champion. The audience roared excitedly. Stand up, trash. Stand up quickly. In the audience, Greg Cohen clenched his fists and shouted in a suppressed voice. With his silent encouragement, Andre Berto lay on the ground for 3 seconds, grabbed the ropes, and slowly stood up, looking at Link with murderous eyes. They stared at each other and swung their fists at each other. In less than 10 seconds, they exchanged more than 20 punches. Link tried to knock Andre down again, but Andre defended rigorously and made his 2 punches miss. Dang dang dang. The 4th round was over. The next round is the limit of the game. Can Link knock out Andre in the remaining round? It's difficult, unless he can knock Andre down 3 times in a row, but obviously he can't do it. Link attacked for 4 consecutive rounds, throwing nearly 100 punches in each round. In the 4th round, he threw more than 110 punches. There won't be much physical strength left in this round, as long as Andre holds his head and doesn't let Link hit him, and lasts for 120 seconds, Link will lose. People whispered to each other and agreed that Link didn't have much chance of winning. Rest area at the corner of the ring. Link, how are you? West handed him a towel. I have no confidence. Link drank a mouthful of water and spat out blood foam. Andre's punch just now also broke the corner of his mouth, but it was not a big problem. At this time, Andre's condition would only be worse than his. Link, come on. I think you can win. Raggy shouted. Of course I can win. Link clenched his fist and said, turning to the opposite corner. Andre, don't attack again in this round. Try hard and hold on to this 120 on defense, and you will win. Andre's coach said. Andre silently pointed at the anchor. After 2 rounds of exchange of punches, he didn't have much strength left. His head was a little dizzy, his eyebrows and face were injured, and his ribs on both sides were aching. He didn't think it was a good idea to take the initiative to attack. Defend with all your strength, survive this round, and the victory will be yours. Andre clenched his fist and glared at Link on the opposite side fiercely. Kid, you are sure to lose. Link also clenched his fist and looked over with murderous eyes. Recommended in the first round. Please support and read. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35. First Champion. Ding ding ding. The 5th round began. Link. Come on. Link, KO him. Link, use a heavy punch. The audience knew that Link would KO Andre in the 5th round to end the match. It was already the 5th round, and the last round. All the audience stood up and hugged the ring tightly, wanting to see if Link could do it. More than a dozen promotion partners from boxing promotion companies also stood up to see whether Link would fulfill his promise and complete the KO, or Andre would persist and defeat Link. See how many rounds you can hold out. I will definitely KO you within 8 rounds. 8 rounds? Andre was stunned for a moment. This is the 5th round, the last round you promised. What a joke. The match is 10 rounds. Do you believe me when I say I will fight 5 rounds? And I only said I would KO you within 5 rounds. And I didn't say I would lose if I fought more than 5 rounds. Link replied with a smile. Are you lying? Andre shouted angrily. Idiot, this is called a ceremony, understand? As long as I beat you, I don't care about public promises. Link sneered. The referee came over to warn the other party not to talk in the ring, and immediately announced the start of the 5th round. You liar. I'm going to kill you. Andre rushed over angrily and hit Link's head with a fierce straight punch. Link instantly turned his head to dodge, swung his fist, and hit Andre's head hard with a fierce back throw. Andre's head first twisted to the left, and the sweat and saliva on his head suddenly swung to the left. Andre couldn't help but fall to the ring. He struggled not to fall, but his body still banged. Andre hit the ring heavily. Wow. Another back throw. Link KO. Link KO. Link champion. The audience all stood up, clapping and cheering. Andre was lying on the ring, and the referee was squatting beside him counting 10, 9, 8, 7. When he read out 4 numbers, Andre looked up and stood up with the help of the ring. Attack. 100 seconds at the limit of the game. Hold on, and you will win. Andre's coach shouted. Andre quickly glanced at the training, with anger in his eyes. The 5 rounds that this bastard said were fake. If he continued to defend, he would be beaten to death. How could he defend at this time? He roared and waved his fist at Lin. Idiot. Defense. Full defense. Don't attack. You are such an idiot. In the audience, Greg Cohen covered his forehead and shouted angrily. Bang. On the boxing ring, Link fought with his fist and was hit by another punch, and at the same time, a boxing swing hit Andre's left cheek. Bang. Andre fell to the stage again. Wow. 3rd KO. Link. Champion. Link. Champion. The audience shouted in unison. The shouts were deafening. Link raised his fists, panting, staring at Andre lying on the ground. The referee squatted beside Andre and counted 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Andre struggled to stand up again. Andre, don't attack. Hold your head. The match limit is 30 seconds. Eat enough time. You can win the next match. Andre's coach shouted. Idiot. Hang on. Don't attack. Use the hugging tactic. Idiot. Greg Cohen raised his fists. He roared. The other promoters looked at him in surprise. Andre looked at his coach, roared, raised his fists, and continued to swing at Link fiercely. Bang. When Link heard that the time limit was less than 30 seconds, he gave up defense, and almost at the same time, used a straight punch to hit Andre's forehead fiercely, using all his strength. Bang. Link was hit in the chin, staggered 2 steps, and fell to the ground. Bang. Andre was hit in the forehead, and fell backwards and hit the ropes. He reached out, and grabbed the ropes, trying hard to stand up. Andre, there are 10 seconds left in the game. Stand up. If you stand up, you will win. Andre's homework shouted from the audience. Andre lay on the ground, and grabbed the ropes, to stand up little by little. Link clenched his fists, looked at the opponent coldly, and was ready to pounce on him at any time. Andre suddenly staggered, and fell headfirst on the boxing ring. Link stood up slowly, panting, and sweat dripped from his body, like rain rushing forward along his skin. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The referee counted 10 numbers, and Andre failed to stand up in time. Boom! Exclamation mark. Link won. Link is the champion. Link is the champion. More than 10,000 spectators shouted in unison, and the huge sound waves shook the roof of the American Airlines arena. Link straightened his back, facing all the audience, and raised his fists vigorously. Link. Champion. Link. Champion. Although Link's arms were beating with his heart, sweat kept pouring out, and his breathing was heavy, he still raised his fists high. The white hot light shone on his strong back, shining with bronze glass, like a steel giant. Link. Champion. Reggie, West and the people in the boxing gym rushed to the boxing ring, lifted Link up, and shouted excitedly, "Link champion." Andre Berto was also carried away from the boxing ring. Idiot. Greg Cohen kicked the chair with one foot and immediately looked painful. He limped on his right foot and limped out of the audience. All boxing fans, all friends and contestants, with the witness of all the members and representatives of the Amateur Boxing Organization and the Golden Gloves Association, I'm honored to announce that the current super middleweight champion is Mr. Clint Baker. On the boxing ring, Bernard Kenny, the founder of the American Boxing Organization, raised Link's arm high in front of many spectators and contestants, in front of the crowd, TV cameras and media reporters. Exclamation mark. Champion. I'm also honored to represent the Golden Gloves Association and the Boxing Organization, to present the audience Golden Glove Super Middleweight Trophy to Mr. Link Baker. Bernard Kenny took the Golden Glove-shaped trophy and a check for $100,000 from his assistant and handed them to Link's hands. Link took the trophy and raised it high towards the audience and the boxing fans. Reggie and others raised it together with the trophy. Link. Champion. Link. Champion. More than 10,000 spectators shouted in unison. Bang, bang, bang. At this moment, fireworks exploded overhead, and colorful pieces of paper and ribbons fluttered. Looking at the ribbons falling from the top of his head, Link couldn't help but think of himself before the Iron Cage battlefield. Old Liu and his assistant Xiao Yang also bought more than 10 fireworks and waited for him to celebrate for us. It's a pity that I couldn't stand up at the last moment, and those fireworks didn't have time to bloom. This time I didn't let myself down, didn't let the fans down, and didn't let the coach and friends down. If old Liu knew, he would be satisfied. Link looked at the sky and raised the corners of his lips. Hiss. Dear audience. Dear audience. I'm honored to continue to report the situation of the Golden Glove Warehouse here. After 5 rounds of fierce fighting, the national boxer Link Baker continued to use KO to defeat his opponent Andre Berto and won the game. Mr. Link Baker also became the champion of the tabletop Golden Glove Warehouse, the super middleweight national competition area. At present, Link's amateur competition results are 17 wins and 17 KO opponents in 17 games. Ring Magazine was right. Link has achieved an amazing result, a record-breaking result. I would like to congratulate Mr. Link Baker again. I hope he can achieve more good results in the boxing world in the future and present more exciting matches to boxing fans. HBO host Steve Mendander said to the camera while holding a cigarette. The cameraman turned the camera and pointed it at the lively and jubilant boxing ring. I'll introduce you to a hot Bolivian girl. Don't talk nonsense. The recording has not been put away yet. Zizzy. ZHI. Chapter 36 between mother and daughter. Hit, hit, hit. KO. 4th KO. 4th KO. Great. Link is so awesome. Link is the champion. Link is the champion. In Los Angeles, in the Swift family's villa, Taylor was watching the game broadcast on HBO TV. Seeing Link knock down his opponent Andre Berto with one punch, she excitedly jumped up and waved her fists a few times. Mrs. Andrea saw her 1.8 meter tall bestie jumping around the house like a child, and she covered her face helplessly. She was already 19 years old and still so jumpy, which was really worrying. Be careful, you are a big shot, Mrs. Andrea advised. Taylor retracted his fist, really looked at his mother, snorted, and looked at his father, Mr. Tom Swift, who was watching the boxing match on the spot. Dad, what do you think of Link's boxing? Taylor pulled Mr. Swift's arm. Old Mr. Swift adjusted his glasses and smiled. Link is a very promising boxer. His skills, speed, strength, and his ring lineup are all first class. As long as he can continue, he should have a chance to win a boxing championship in the future. Taylor raised the corner of his lips, looked at Mrs. Andrea next to him, and said with a little smile, Mom, Dad said that Link has a chance to become a boxing champion in the future. Boxers are athletes and have great incomes, not worse than me as a singer. Now you won't object to me and Link, right? When Andrea's daughter heard what she said, she frowned in dissatisfaction. Taylor, what do you mean by this? Are you saying that I'm a snob and that I look down on Link, so I won't let you give first aid, isn't it? Taylor stretched his arms and hummed in his nose. Suddenly, his ears were pinched by Mrs. Andrea. "Ah, Mom, come on. Let go of my ears." Mrs. Andrea pinched her ears and said angrily, "When did I look down on you? I just think you are not the same kind of people, not in the same circle, and can't be in the same place. You are not suitable to be boyfriend and girlfriend. I advised you not to get too close to him, not because he is poor. I'm completely considering you, but you regard me as a witch who is destroying your relationship? Taylor, you are really a good daughter of your mother. Mom, let go first." Taylor rescued her ears from her mother, covered her ears, frowned and said, "Link and I are just innocent. We don't want to get married." "Why not? And even if we get married, it's not possible. Link is so handsome, strong, and cool. He must be a very good partner." "Mom, you were also a girl. If you met a boy like Link when you were a child, you would definitely not fall in love with him again, provided that you don't have a person you like who is thinking for you." Taylor curled her lips and emphasized the words "thinking for you." Mrs. Andrea was furious and stretched out her hand to grab her ears again. Taylor nimbly avoided her mother's hand and hid beside Mr. Swift's brother. He used it as a cover and smiled triumphantly at Mrs. Andrea. Mrs. Andrea was so angry that she was panting. She grabbed the light held by Mr. Swift and pointed at Taylor and complained, "Don't watch TV. Look at your daughter. Look at how she walks." Mr. Swift was sandwiched between his wife and daughter. He couldn't help but touch the sweat on his forehead, coughed lightly and said, "Taylor, apologize to your mother quickly. I didn't do anything wrong. Why apologize? Should I apologize? Sorry, I had an agreement with Link a long time ago. If he can play in the finals, I will go to the scene to cheer him up. Yesterday, Link sent me a message saying that the finals will be played today and asked me when I will arrive. I had already bought the wages of the workers, but before getting on the plane, they insisted on dragging me to Disney Mom TV to participate in some music broadcast program. I couldn't go down, so I couldn't rush to the scene to cheer for Link. Link will definitely think that I'm a woman who doesn't keep my promise and a friend who is not trustworthy. Because of my mother's obstruction, I will not only lose a friend, but also lose precious feelings. Dad, Mom is so excessive. Do you still want me to apologize?" Taylor rubbed her eyes and pretended to cry. Old Mr. Swift said calmly, looking at his wife, "Annie, is that so? In order to stop Taylor from going to Miami, are you going to arrange work for her?" Of course not. It was Disney that temporarily adjusted the recording time of the program, and it was a promotional activity specially produced by Big Machine Company for Taylor's new album, and she couldn't be absent. I negotiated with the TV station and hoped that they would postpone it for 2 days, but it was not possible. The new album has been released, and it is a critical moment. One day can't be delayed. It's not that I deliberately stopped her and temporarily added work for her. Taylor herself knew that this program could not be delayed, and she followed me obediently, but she didn't want to bear the mistake of breaking the appointment, so she pushed the mistake on me. Mrs. Andrea glanced at Taylor and gave her a bad intention look. "No." Taylor patted the pillow excitedly. "If you didn't call me, Mom, I would have boarded the plane a long time ago. You can ignore me when I call you. Since you have grown up and often don't listen to me, it's not this time. There is no need to establish a good girl persona for yourself. You are not." Mrs. Andrea snorted coldly. Taylor glared at her mother in frustration and punched the pillow with her fist. On the one hand, she wanted to watch Link boxing, and on the other hand, she couldn't turn down her work. She was struggling for a long time at the airport. Out of responsibility and professionalism, she still carried her suitcase and returned to her post to work. Now that the work is done, there is a boxing match on TV. Thinking of breaking the appointment with Link and not being able to go to the scene to cheer him on, she feels very sorry. This regret is hard to disappear, so she has to move it away. She naturally puts the blame on her mother, who still has a certain responsibility, and hopes that her mother can take it. As a result, not only did Ms. Andrea have no intention of taking the blame for her daughter, she also tore off her disguise and let her face her mistakes and guilt nakedly. Taylor was very uncomfortable and kept sniffing. Mrs. Andrea was an experienced person. She suddenly saw her daughter's problem and gave her advice. It is better to have a short pain than a long pain. Since it is not suitable, why not just say goodbye? Isn't it good to be ordinary friends? There are many handsome guys in Hollywood, from the music, film, and art circles. There must be guys who are more suitable for you than Link. How can they compare with Link? Link is so handsome and strong, and his temperament is very clean. He fits my aesthetic taste very well. The guys in the entertainment industry are like those who came out of a garbage dump. They are vain and decadent. They are disgusting to look at. How can I contact them? Taylor raised his little face and spoke in a firm voice, as if no man in the world is better than Link. Mrs. Andrea covered her forehead and gave Mr. Swift a sharp look. You have grown up. You are a man. You can't encounter things that only I, a woman, can do it. Mr. Swift adjusted the legs of his glasses and thought for a while. Dear, is Link really as good as you said? Yes, very good. Taylor nodded his chin affirmatively. Since Link is a good boy, you can call him and tell him that the problem you encounter should be that he is a good boy and will understand and forgive you. Mr. Swift advised. Taylor thought about it and felt that her father's words were more reliable than her mother's. She nodded her chin, adjusted her skirt, kissed her father's butt on his almost bald head, stepped on the lever, and ran upstairs. Oh, Taylor is getting older, and it's getting harder and harder to manage her, Mrs. Andrea said, slumped on the sofa. Then don't worry about it. Taylor is a smart girl and she will make the right choice, Mr. Swift said, hugging his wife's shoulders. Mrs. Andrea nodded and leaned her head on her husband's shoulder. On TV, Link was still boxing in the boxing ring. Thank you for the reward from the book friend with the last number 3,472,516. Thank you. Chapter 37 Between husband and wife. Attack his brow bone. Good. This punch is great. The angle is too tricky. KO. 5th KO. 5th KO. This punch is too heavy. Andre will definitely not be able to get up. Link champion. Link champion. In a high-rise duplex apartment in Manhattan, New York, Mr. Franco Duval was watching a game on the HBO Sports channel. When he saw Link knock Andre to the ground with one punch, he jumped up excitedly and punched the wall. Mrs. Nora Duval came down the spiral staircase on the second floor in her skirt. Seeing her husband yelling childishly and hitting the wall like a child, she shook her head. Franco, keep your voice down. Vera will be woken up by you, Mrs. Nora Duval reminded in a low voice. Okay, I know. Franco Duval turned down the volume of the stereo, sat on the sofa, took a sip of beer, stared at Link on TV, and suddenly sighed. Alas, why can't my father agree to me? Link is very disabled. In the future, he will enter the boxing world and will definitely become a boxing champion. A boxing champion who can make a lot of money. Our main event promotion company has launched boxers. The old ones are old, some have retired, and most of those who remain are not strong. Do you know how others evaluate our company? Humph, they say our company is a boxing champion retirement home. Now is the time to make changes, but why doesn't my father agree to let me sign Link? If Link is here, give me 5 years, I'm sure that the main events will surpass the top events and become the strongest promotion company in the boxing world again. Franco clenched his fists and squeezed the beer can into a ball. But thinking about the day when he returned to New York and found the contractor Link to discuss the matter, he was rejected and scolded by his father. His father said that what he did was too exaggerated and he was not a good boxing promoter. He asked him to recall it. Thinking of his father's words, he couldn't help but feel discouraged. He picked up his hand and the wrinkled beer can fell to the floor, clanging. Don't think about Link anymore. Dad must have his reasons for not agreeing. Nora picked up the beer can and threw it into the trash container. What's his reasoning? He's stubborn, rigid, stubborn, and self-righteous. He thinks it's still the 1970s and 1980s, and he can get ahead with fists and relationships. His way of doing things has long been out of favor in the boxing world, but he still refuses to change his ways and let things go. If he continues to be so stubborn, the major event companies will be dragged down by him sooner or later. Frank said helplessly. Nora gently persuaded. Father, it was a bit ill-considered for father to reject your proposal. It's just that Link's offer was too high. 100 million contractors gold. This is a sky-high price that even Ali and Tyson dare not offer. How could he, a boxer, dare to do it? There is still a long way to go from amateur boxer to professional boxer. The road to beauty is not easy to walk. If there is a little accident, the loss will be huge. Huge loss. Dear, you must understand your father's concerns. I understand, but Link in Franco's TV spread his hands. Link is really a great boxer, and this is really a good opportunity. Nora, you have worked in the boxing industry longer than me, and you know more than me. Let me ask you, if you go back to the 60s or 80s, and let you use 30 million to sign Ali and Tyson, who were not yet famous, would you be willing to use the money to sign them? No. Nora Duver answered neatly. Why? Franco looked at his wife in surprise. His wife Nora Duver was originally one of the old Duver's administrative assistants. She has been working as a boxing promoter in the company for more than 12 years, and is now the president of International Development of Major Events Incorporated, which is longer than his time in the boxing industry. Whenever he has work-related matters, he will consult his wife. Most of the time, his wife will support his opinions, and he also understands his wife, but this time the answer was beyond his wife's expectations. Nora Duver said calmly, 300 back then is no less than the current billion. Even if I knew they would become super boxing champions in the future, I would not sign them. First, the company does not have that much liquidity. Spending too much money to sign a boxer will inevitably affect the company's subsequent development. Second, the development of a company is a group of people working together, and it must not rely on just one person. A company or group that relies on just one person will not develop for a long time, and it is also an unhealthy development model. Take Ali as an example. In 1967, he refused to serve in the military and was revoked of boxing competitions by the state athletic commissions across the United States. He was unable to participate in boxing competitions for 4 years. In 1971, he made a comeback and challenged boxing champion Joe Frazier, but was knocked down and failed. In 1973, he made a second comeback and challenged boxing champion Ken Norton, but failed again. It was not until 1974 that he successfully challenged boxing champion George Foreman and returned to the boxing arena. There was a 7-year window in between. If the strict reforms at that time had placed all hopes on him alone, he would have gone bankrupt long ago. And Tyson, he had more problems, including fighting, sexual assault, imprisonment, and unexpected boxing losses. Don King Promotions spent more than $50 million to sign him that year. Although they made a lot of money afterwards, it was obviously lower than expected. In addition, Link Baker, who you are optimistic about, is not a good person who follows the rules. Judging from Link's performance during this period, he is indeed not a person who is willing to play by the rules. The probability of success and failure is 50% each. If the company puts its hopes on him alone, and he unexpectedly appears in the future, how can the company recover the funds invested in him? Franco was a little disappointed by his wife's words. He slumped on the sofa, his shoulders forward, and his eyes saw Link fighting in the boxing ring again. He muttered again, this may be a good opportunity. A 50% probability of success is also a probability. It would be a pity to miss it. Nora gently pinched his shoulders and said softly, don't be too sorry. There are many opportunities. In addition to Link, there are other boxers who are good for the front trap. For example, heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder, light heavyweight champion Andy Ruiz Jr., lightweight champion Joe Smith, and middleweight champion George Groves are all very good candidates. Franco shook his head and concluded, how can they compare with Link? Link is a figure who can change the times in the boxing world. He is Caesar, while most of them are Labienus and Mark Antony, who are vassals who follow the times closely. Nora Mattis's hand brushed the bangs across her forehead, and her expression was helpless. She didn't know what Link said to her husband, or what her husband participated in, but since her husband met Link, he talked about Link whenever he talked about boxing, and talked about Link every time he talked about a boxing match. When watching TV at home, he often watched Link's game videos. He praised Link highly, saying that Link was better than super boxing champions such as Ali, Tyson, George Foreman, and Mayweather. Now he is actually using Caesar to describe Link. This is not just valuing, but admiring, or even fascinated. If she didn't know that her husband had no problems, she would have thought of going somewhere else. Link is excellent, but his appetite is also very refined. He proposed a $100 million signing bonus to you, and 70% of the stocks to Greg Cohen. This is too exaggerated. It is impossible for a boxer like him to ask a promotion company to work for him. I think no one in the boxing promotion industry can meet his requirements. In order to make her husband change his mind, she didn't mind blowing some metal wind in her husband's ear. Franco spread his hands. Link is a capable man. He will make a lot of money in the future, and it is reasonable for him to have more escape. Nora was helpless, but he is just a boxer now. Who can predict it? Will he become a boxing champion in the future, or will he be in prison? No, he is a man with clear goals and clear thinking. He is a man with ideals, and he is capable of realizing his ideals and ideals. He will not do something dangerous easily. He will not go to prison, and will not have accidents. In addition, he is not a boxer. He is the Golden Glove super middleweight champion, a very promising and excellent boxer. Franco clenched his fists and said excitedly, Nora, come down quickly, come down. I have a plan, a great plan. You can help me with some reference. This time even old Duval can't stop me. Ms. Nora covered her forehead. She felt that she needed to find some time to talk to Link and ask him to let her husband go. Please read on. Chapter 38 Between Friends and KO Emma Watson. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Link declared. Link is the champion. In the suite of Kingston Resort Hotel in Orlando, the golden retriever Robert Grind jumped up from the sofa, clenched his fist and waved vigorously, saying to Harry Potter Daniel, if we had known that the competition was so exciting, we should have asked for leave to watch it live. But we have to shoot today. Daniel Radcliffe shrugged his shoulders and said, I know, but I still feel a little regretful. Robert Grind threw himself on the sofa, tilted his head to look at Daniel. You don't seem very happy. What's wrong? Is there? Daniel adjusted his glasses and said, of course there is. Although I don't know magic, I can do it. Isn't it because of Emma? Robert got up, grabbed him and laughed. Is it because Emma left and hasn't come back yet? You her? Daniel answered and denied it again and again. No, don't guess. I didn't guess. Robert chuckled, spread his arms, held his chin with one hand and said, you like Emma, right? I don't. Don't talk nonsense. She and I are just good friends. Daniel hurriedly denied. Daniel, you are too introverted and too well behaved. If you like Emma, you should confess to her earlier. It's not good to drag on. Emma looks like a lady, but she is a little witch at heart. She likes those crazy exciting bad boys, and you are too well behaved, so your confession probably won't be successful. However, Daniel lowered his head and said nothing. Robert took out 2 cans of beer, opened them, and handed one to Daniel. Don't be depressed. When we get back to London, I will introduce you to a real lady, a beautiful and gentle girl who speaks very well. She is much better than Emma. What do you think? Robert smiled and bumped him with his shoulder. Daniel looked up and smiled, and clinked his beer with him. The plane returning in the evening watched the starry night sky, and slowly landed in the brightly lit city of Miami that never sleeps. On Miami Beach, pedestrians can be seen at night. The white waves rolled up, washing the footprints left by humans on the shore during the day. Several crabs with bared fangs and claws were rolled to the shore by the waves, and they were dizzy and spitting bubbles in the sandpit. Suddenly, they saw 2-legged beasts stepping over, and several small crabs immediately sped up, waving their claws, and drilled deeper into the sandpit. My baker shop is in front. Do you like diving? I'll take you there tomorrow. Link pointed to the shop in front and said to the girl beside him. The girl was petite, with long golden brown hair. Under her long eyelashes, her slender dark brown eyes looked at everything about herself just right. Below was a straight nose tip and slightly wrinkled pink lips, with a look of strength and willfulness. She held up her black square-toed leather shoes with both hands, and pulled up her blue skirt to pose, looking for her fair and round calves, and her slender jade feet gently stepped on the white fine sand, pointing in the direction of the Baker diving equipment rental shop not far from the shore. The shop is 700 to 800 meters away from the beach, and is a mobile house stored in a large truck. On one side of the beach, There is a shell-shaped 3-dimensional shed with a protruding front and a square 3-story glass window with various diving equipment hanging inside. There are 3 pairs of tires under the car, which can be moved by trailer. The shop is painted with white latex paint all over, and there are many colorful murals on the walls, as well as orange life buoys arranged by the Beach Management Bureau, which is very beach style. It looks good, but it would be better if there were no paintings. Emma Watson said as she looked around the shop. Link smiled. At first, Taylor said that the paintings on the wall were the soul of the shop, and added a few strokes. Emma agreed. He turned on the door and the lights in the house, and invited Emma Watson in. Link was a little surprised that Emma Watson could come to Miami today to cheer him up. Although they often chatted through MSN during this period, most of the time it was not very harmonious. She likes to find fault with others and often uses the tone of an expert to comment on his games. For example, after the game today, the first sentence I saw was Link, you played well. Although there are still many areas that need to be improved, as an amateur boxer, your performance has been recognized by me for the time being. Most of the time, Link just smiled and didn't argue with a little girl. In comparison, they were only friends who had met and had a good chat, but she came to the game site, which was much more reliable than Taylor. After Emma came, Link took her to participate in the first half of the celebration party held at the Pink Lover Bar today. In the second half, the two walked the dog together, rode a motorcycle through the bustling Miami streets, and strolled on the quiet and peaceful beach for more than 10 minutes before returning to the store. Emma, do you want to take a shower? Link came out of the bathroom in a shirt, after taking a shower, wearing a body and shorts, and wiping his hair with a towel. Emma sat upright on the sofa, and an unknown variety show was playing on TV. Hearing his question, Emma turned her head and looked at him quietly. Her eyes were bright, as if she was doing a court scan of his heart, liver, spleen, stomach, and kidneys. Link shrugged and said, don't get me wrong, I don't mean anything else. The air under your armpits is hot and humid, and it's easy to sweat if you walk for a long time. If you take a shower, I'll find you some clothes to change into. You will feel more uncomfortable sleeping at night. Emma looked at him and blinked. Okay. Link smiled softly, went back to the bedroom to find a set of pure cotton sports t-shirts and shorts, walked into the small hall, saw that her feet were covered with fine sand, and found the Manhattan crane again. Thank you. You're welcome. Link smiled and took her to the hot spring room, a small cubicle with only a shower. He closed the door and heard the sound of running water in the bathroom, which seemed a bit ambiguous in the quiet room. Link went outside the store to call Taylor. He had just had a party at the bar. When he received Taylor's call, they only talked for 2 sentences before hanging up. Many things were not made clear. He called again, and Taylor answered the phone quickly. He asked if the party was over, and continued to apologize to him, saying that he had taken a temporary job, a very important job, and the interruption would not delay his time. He hoped that he would forgive him. Of course, Link forgave her. The other party was just an ordinary friend who had met a few times, had a few meals, and crossed the road once. It was not a big deal for an ordinary friend to not come to the scene to watch the game because of something. It was not a big deal. It was okay, as long as he was grateful. Link did not have high requirements for her, and he would not blame her or get angry because of her breach of trust. Taylor promised on the phone that she would definitely go to the scene to cheer for him when he played the game next time. If she did not do so, he would let her grow another 5 centimeters taller. Link was a little surprised. Taylor was 180 centimeters tall. When she was young, she had a low self-esteem and developed a habit of hunching over. It was not until she became a singer and slowly received training from a physique trainer that she corrected her posture and became a tall beauty. Now she actually guaranteed that she would grow 5 centimeters taller. She was so sincere that he couldn't define their relationship. The call lasted for more than 10 minutes and then returned to the small living room. Emma sat quietly on the sofa, wearing his white t-shirt with red letters. His t-shirt was too skinny for her 165 centimeter figure. The hem hung to her knees, which was equivalent to the lower layer. Her wet hair was scattered on her shoulders, with water drops on the ends of her hair, and there were some mottled wet marks on the back of her white t-shirt. Her oval face became more delicate and pink after taking a bath, but she was still expressionless. "Sorry, I don't have a blow dryer here." Link took out a dry new towel and asked her to dry her hair. "You are a friend. After all, she said she would come to cheer me up, but she was busy with work at the last minute and couldn't interrupt the break time, so she called me to apologize." "Girlfriend?" "No, just an ordinary friend." Emma wiped her hair with a towel, and her golden brown hair became more fluffy. It was just that she was wearing a t-shirt at most, and when she raised her head and twirled her hair with her arms, a touch of pink on the cuffs hit Link's eyes, and Link's heart skipped a beat. He swept his hair, and the short hair, that had just been washed, was unconsciously dried by the wind, becoming clear and upright. He came to the bedroom, pulled out a carpet from the closet, and came to the small hall. "I've tidied up the bedroom, you can sleep in the bedroom, and I'll sleep on the sofa," Link said, putting down the blanket. Emma looked at him and blinked, put the towel on the sofa, got up, dragged his big boom, and walked back to the bedroom. "Good night, Emma." Link turned off the lights in the hall, lay down on the sofa, and yawned. He was tired after a day, and he felt sleepiness sweeping over him after lying down, and fell asleep without expecting anything. He didn't know how long he slept, but he was awakened by the shaking. He opened his eyes, and Emma was looking down at him above his head. She was only wearing a loose t-shirt. The shaking sight made Link's hair stiff. "What's wrong, Emma?" Link sat up. His pajama slipped off his chest, revealing his strong chest and abdominal muscles. "You slept on the floor." Emma pointed to the sofa next to him. "Oh, thank you for waking me up." Link rubbed his forehead and got up from the ground with a carpet in his hand. "You're welcome." Emma bit her lower lip, walked to the bedroom door and said, "The bed in the bedroom is big and can sleep 2 people." Link looked at the spacious door of the bedroom, smiled lightly, and walked into the bedroom wrapped in a blanket. Emma was already lying on the bed with her eyes closed, covered with a thin wool blanket, and her chest kept rising and falling. Link turned off the lights, lay on the bed, and heard the breathing and heartbeat next to him gradually becoming faster. Link pulled up the blanket from Emma and covered himself with it. "Don't move," Emma said with her eyes closed. Link smiled softly, lying on the bed, looking at the roof. After a good sleep, he became more energetic, and the night outside the window was deep. The sea water gently lapped the sandbar on the shore, and the occasional passing car only brought gusts of wind. It was obviously a long night. Her breathing gradually became calm, and Link put his arm on her body. The girl still closed her eyes. Her breathing became rapid again, and her heartbeat suddenly hit his arm. Link hugged her into his arms and kissed her gently. The girl suddenly opened her black eyes, pushed him away, and wrapped her hands around his neck. The lights on the roof went out. Starlight invaded the bedroom through the window, and they were lovers bathed in starlight. Chapter 39. Connection and Ridiculous Night. On June 13th, 2008, the Golden Gloves National Championship, jointly organized by the Golden Gloves Boxing Committee and the Jump Boxing Association, came to an end at the American Airlines Center in Miami. Many outstanding boxers appeared at the summit. There were heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder, junior champion Andy Ruiz Jr., lightweight champion Joe Smith Jr., middleweight champion George Groves, etc. However, in the strike, the boxer who attracted the most attention was undoubtedly the Amy-charmed boy Link Baker. He used the method of attacking opponents with complete KO from the beginning of the divisional competition, which attracted people's attention. He has 14 wins and 14 KOs in 14 fights, and has made a breakthrough in the overall public opinion, attracting interviews and reports from the media. He was also rated as one of the most anticipated rookies of the year by the boxing magazine Ring, which has the largest circulation. At the General Secretary, he KO'd Iron Man Morales, Mantis Hernandez Edge, and boxing championship champion Andre Berto, and won the super middleweight championship trophy in a way that was beyond everyone's expectations. According to Nielsen data statistics on the same day, the highest ratings of this broadcast reached 10.28 million households, becoming the highest rated program in the same period. Link's powerful fighting style in the ring, his violent attack, his powerful heavy punches, and his amazing physical strength all left a deep impression on the audience. Almost overnight, Link's popularity in the United States surpassed that of the internet, the media, and ordinary people. Many people knew that a handsome boxer with excellent boxing skills and particularly hard fists appeared in the boxing world. His name is Link Baker. As he became popular, the media also dug up the previous news and re-reported it. The first one to bear the brunt was the fake Punch Storm. With 17 wins and 17 KOs in 17 fights, Link won the gold amateur gloves and won the championship. This is a new record. Before him, no one had ever been able to attack in a boxing match with a full KO, including the famous rocket bomber Joe Louis in history, the undefeated boxing champion Rocky Marciano, the heavy punch king Mike Tyson, etc. They all couldn't do it. But the boxer who can only train 20 years a year and can only practice 3 years of boxing has achieved it. This record is extremely outstanding, so it has also aroused doubts from many people, including boxing champion Roy Jones Jr., Bernard Hopkins, Chris Bird, Hashim Rahman, James Toney, Giant Valuv, etc. Saudi Arabia openly questioned Link's performance in the competition, suspecting that his scores for all subjects entering the assessment were suspected of being falsified. However, what was even more shocking was Link's answer. On the day of the competition, Link challenged all the boxing champions and boxing stars who questioned him in front of dozens of media reporters. He told the media reporters that, as long as these boxers could count 3 donations in his hand, even if he lost. He also publicly challenged Roy Jones Jr., saying that if Roy Jones Jr. could count 1 donation in his hand, he would also donate 1. Link's tough remarks were also reported by major media after he became famous, causing quite a stir in the North American boxing world. Some people criticized him for being too arrogant and liking to use this method to gain attention. Others supported him, believing that he had personality, was bold, and dared to challenge everything. Whether it was criticism or praise, Link Baker, a boxing rookie who had just debuted for less than a month, became famous in the United States almost overnight, and became one of the most dazzling rookies of the new generation of boxers. Reprinted from the headline news of the sports section of the Miami Herald. When Emma Watson woke up in the room, the stars were scattered, and the bright sunshine at noon had broken through the blue curtains, invading this remote, but extremely warm and comfortable room. Light blue curtains, light blue wall coating, the floor is covered with cashmere flooring of the same color as the beach, soft, white, and delicate, and the soft little bed under her is like a small boat, quietly moored on the beach. Emma put the back of her hand on her forehead, and her head was still a little dizzy, and what made her even more dizzy was last night's dream. Thinking of what happened yesterday, she couldn't help biting the edge of the blanket, and her delicate cheeks became flushed and hot. Last night she had a very terrible dream. In the dream, she was sitting in this small boat under her, sailing in the rough sea. The weather gradually changed, with strong winds and heavy rains, hurricanes accompanied by lightning, hitting the boat under her again and again. I don't know how long the storm lasted, and there were several times when the boat was almost destroyed and people died. Arsehole. Emma curled up under her clothes and punched the empty pillows around her in shame and anger. She placed the sparse pillows on Mr. Storm yesterday. She vented on the pillows for a while and felt much more comfortable. Pulling the blanket to cover her chest, she sat up on the stainless steel bed. Her thin eyebrows slightly frowned, her eyes filled with unspeakable pain, and Emma cursed a few more times as bastard from the forest. Link. Link. Emma leaned against the pillow and shouted hoarsely. No one answered outside. Emma threw the egg on it in annoyance and shouted gangster. Ding ling ling. The mobile phone on the bedside rang. It was her mobile phone. Emma sighed and reached out to pick up the phone. The caller ID showed that it was her Aunt Irene, who was also her agent. There were more than 10 missed calls on the phone, including those from her aunt, Daniel, Robert, and David Yates, the director of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Emma suddenly remembered that she was still an actor and had several scenes to shoot today. She was going to go back after watching the game yesterday, but for some reason, when Link invited her, she agreed without hesitation. It's all Link's fault. Emma took a deep breath, picked up her aunt's phone in the middle, and carefully said good morning. Emma, it's noon now. What's wrong with your throat? Aunt Irene's midnight and stereotyped voice came from the microphone. Aunt, I'm sad. Where are you? We still have to shoot 2 scenes today. Did you forget? I'm in Miami. I didn't forget. Emma saw several obvious red fingerprints on her fair calf. She bit her lower lip tightly. Aunt, I'm injured. Injured? Where is the injury? Is it serious? Have you been to the hospital to see a doctor? Which hospital are you in? I'll be there right away. Aunt Irene's voice popped out of the microphone like a string of cannonballs. Emma was shocked. If her aunt came and saw her like this, she would definitely be exposed. She hurriedly said, Aunt, you don't have to come. It's just a minor injury. There were too many people at the boxing match yesterday, and I accidentally sprained my ankle. It's not a big deal. I'll be fine after 2 days of rest. Really nothing? Really? Seeing the fingerprints on Emma's calf, they should disappear in 2 days, right? Bastard Link. Then where are you now? Is there no one to take care of you? Yes, a friend's house, a good friend. Emma suddenly saw the skirt hanging on the head of the bed. The hem of the skirt was accidentally stained with cake at the party yesterday, and there was a stain on the hem. Now it has been washed clean, and there is a fresh scent of laundry detergent on it, which is citrus, the same as Link's perfume. Emma couldn't help but curl up the corners of her lips. He is nice to me. Him, a friend of the opposite sex. When did you have a friend of the opposite sex in Miami? Emma, you didn't report it to me. Aunt Irene's voice was a little dissatisfied. There are 2 friends, a man and a woman. They are a couple. Emma stuck out her tongue, feeling that she was becoming more and more skilled in lying. After chatting with her aunt for more than 10 minutes, she finally calmed down her nervous aunt and dispelled her idea of coming to Miami. Emma rubbed her hair and called director David Yates again to apologize to the director and the crew and promised to arrive in Orlando on time tomorrow and not to cause trouble to the crew. The director asked her to have a good rest and come back after recovering from her injury. Seeing Daniel and Robert's calls, she thought about it and sent extra messages to tell them that she was not safe. Daniel sent 5 messages in a row, asking her how she was, saying that he heard from her aunt that her foot was injured, and asked her if it was serious and if it hurt. Which hospital was she in, and he and Robert wanted to visit her. Emma rolled her eyes, replied directly, "It's okay," and hung up the phone. Haha, Link, you are a boxer. It's incredible to think that you are better than your diving skills. I'm a professional diver and a boxer, and boxing is just boxing. Haha, Link, you're so humorous. The voices of 2 men talking came from outside. Emma got up wrapped in a blanket and walked to the window. She opened the curtains a little, and the sunlight instantly poured out from the window. By the blue sea, on the white beach, 2 men in diving suits were carrying diving equipment, talking and laughing as they walked towards Prague. In front was a middle-aged man wearing a wig. I don't know if he forgot to take off his wig when he went into the water. At this time, the wig was wet with drainage water and covered his head like a batch of wet bird nests. The guy behind was a bastard. He was wearing a close-fitting diving suit and all his sturdiness was highlighted. Bald Tiger was long, sturdy, strong. His handsome and angular face was a smile brighter than the Miami sun, white teeth, and a pair of bright blue eyes, which were deeper and more charming than the sea outside the window. Emma covered her pounding chest and held the man tightly. She found an extremely suitable excuse for last night's madness. It was because this bastard was too sexy and charming, too powerful and brutal. She was just a little girl. She failed to resist. Emma nodded her chin. Hearing the sound of unlocking at the door of the store, she immediately went back to bed, covered her whole body with a blanket, turned her back to the door, closed her eyes, and pretended to be asleep. After a while, the bedroom door was pushed open. It was Link who walked in, with the smell of sunshine on his body. Emma. Emma closed her eyes tightly and couldn't move, as if she had just Emma. I brought you breakfast. I don't know what you like to eat. Here are ham pizza, Cuban sandwiches, fruit salad, ice cream, and freshly squeezed orange juice. If these don't suit your appetite, tell me what you want to eat. The man outside is called Simmons. He is a reporter from the Herald. He wants to interview me. It will take about half an hour. Also, your phone rang several times this morning, but you were sleeping, and I didn't wake you up. Remember to call back when you wake up, and don't let them worry about you. After saying that, Link went out, and the door was gently closed. Emma opened her eyes and blinked, snorting, "I was obviously sleeping. Who woke me up? Talking so much to the air, so nagging." Suddenly seeing the pillow that she had thrown away return to the bed, Emma's face turned hot. Knowing that she had failed to pretend to sleep, she kicked the pillow down again in anger. There was a folding table bed next to it, with some delicious food and fresh fruits on it. Emma heard her stomach growling. She sat up again and started to eat breakfast, and then she heard the conversation between Link and the wigged man outside. She didn't expect that he was a reporter. Chapter 40 Journalist Interview. The sun shines on the terrace shed in front of Baker's shop, creating a cool shade. On the beach cabinet are 2 cups of scented tea, a recorder, a notebook with a pen, and a Canon camera. "Link, it turns out you are really a professional diver." Reporter Simmons and Link's diver looked at each other with a surprised expression on their faces. According to him, to obtain a diver pilot, you need to go through multiple calculations and accumulate more than 1,000 hours of diving time to obtain the diver pilot awarded by the Miami Diving Association. It is difficult for ordinary people to get it. He became a diver pilot because of his strong physical performance after crossing over. In the end, he wanted to survive by this, but because of his living habits, unwillingness, regrets in his previous life and other factors, he returned to the old path of his previous life. "Mr. Simmons, I didn't expect you to be a reporter." He got up and ran back. He was eating breakfast when Simmons came to inspect and said that he wanted to go diving in the sea and asked him to be a diving coach. In the morning, the other party gave money and Link would not refuse. He took Simmons to swim in the sea. Just after returning to the store, Simmons revealed his identity, claiming to be a reporter from the Herald, who wanted to interview him. Since the Herald was obviously derived from his own newspaper, he had praised himself in the newspaper many times. The editor-in-chief Raphael Varane even wrote comments to praise himself many times. After the fake fight storm broke out in the past 2 days, the Herald also reversed and published several articles to defend himself. He couldn't refuse it out of emotion and reason, and he would not refuse the reporter's interview. After all, his future plan is to become a professional boxer, and he will not refuse the news publicly, which will deepen his impression of himself and be extremely beneficial to his future development. "Link, how about we start the interview?" Simmons picked up the notebook. "Okay, I hope your questions are not too difficult." Link stretched out his hand and made a request. Simmons laughed and looked at the notebook in his eyes and wrote, "Link, first of all, congratulations on defeating Andre Berto in the Golden Gloves competition and winning the Super Middleweight Championship. Are you satisfied with yesterday's game?" "Of course, I'm the winner," Link said with a clenched fist. "As for your opponent, Andre Berto, you have fought with him. What kind of boxer do you think he is?" Simmons asked. Link thought for a while and said, "He is undoubtedly very good. In terms of technology, strength, speed, and boxing awareness, he is at the first class level. He is an opponent with excellent strength in all aspects, very comprehensive, and almost no flaws. He is very difficult to deal with. He only uses 5 circles." Simmons laughed. Link smiled lightly and spread his hands and said, "His comprehensiveness and lack of flaws are relative. For ordinary boxers, he is a perfect and terrible opponent, but for me, his speed, strength, technology, boxing awareness, and tactics are not as good as mine. This is why I can defeat him just now, while others cannot defeat him." Can this sentence be understood as, do you think you have the power to crush him in all aspects? Crush? No, I think suppression is more appropriate. Haha. Simmons looked at him and laughed. "Yesterday at the American Airlines arena, hundreds of reporters, you said that you are too strong and can't be low-key. Why are you so humble today? Because you are the only one here now, and if I brag to you alone, not only you will be embarrassed, but I will be more embarrassed." Link spread his hands. Simmons laughed, adjusted the wig on his head, and continued to ask questions. "Yesterday before the game, the HBO host came to visit, and you suddenly announced that you would KO Andre Berto in 5 rounds. Was it a plan made in advance, or was it a spur-of-the-moment decision? Suddenly. Oh, why did you suddenly make such a decision? Did Andre say in the interview that you were faking a fight and made you angry?" "Not entirely." Link took a sip of tea sarcastically and said, before the game, I watched Andre's game videos repeatedly. It was difficult for him to identify the opponent with flaws, and he was in the upper position of the first super middleweight at the time. Before I caught up with him in the game, I didn't even have a chance to defeat him, let alone KO him. Link, you said that you didn't have the control to defeat him before the game? Simmons was very concerned about this question, so he straightened his back, held the pen, and listened to his answer attentively. Yes, he is very strong in the first in the same level. Before I fought him, I was not 100% sure to defeat him, but I was confident in my strength. This sentence may sound a bit contradictory, but the victory or defeat of a game is sometimes more important than imagined. Because I believe in my own strength, in order to force myself, I set a goal for myself, not only to defeat him, but also to KO him within 5 rounds. When I demand abuse from myself, I will give up defense and take the initiative to attack, and then I will burst out all my potential at the critical moment. If you have watched the game, you should know that I punched an average of 100 times in each round in the first 4 rounds. You should know that in professional boxing matches, most boxers punch about 500 times in 12 rounds, and the physical fitness of boxers is good. For example, James Toney and John Ruiz only punched about 600 times, and punched nearly 500 times in 5 rounds, which almost exhausted all my physical strength. That game was too difficult. I tried almost everything, but when I succeeded in winning the match, I fulfilled my promise. Link shrugged his shoulders. Simmons couldn't help but clapped his hands. Yes, you are excellent. We can all say that in the last match, you played very actively. Andre Berto defended comprehensively, but he couldn't defend against your strong attack. In the end, he was forced to change his punches and was knocked down by you many times. All this was the result of you forcing yourself. Link, if you didn't force yourself and set an erotic goal for yourself, could you beat him? Link crossed his fingers and smiled. Of course, I said my goal is to be the champion. Even if I KO him within 5 rounds, I can KO him within 10 rounds. I will plan ahead and set a more erotic goal for myself, just to use this method to motivate myself and lock in the victory in advance. This is also one of my habits. If I set an erotic goal for myself and work hard to achieve it, the results will be more brilliant. Simmons smiled and nodded, wrote a few words on the notebook, and continued to ask, you didn't change your goal, you just made it more pornographic. So at the press conference before the game, you told reporters, including Bernard Hopkins, Chris Bird, and Roy Jones Jr., that anyone who doubted your strength, as long as they dared to challenge you, you would defeat them within 3 rounds. Is this one of the pornographic goals you set for yourself? Link said lightly, this is unfair. Oh, isn't this goal gender? Simmons asked suspiciously. In fact, among these boxing predecessors, except for Valu who is a little bit taller, he is 213 centimeters tall, and it will be a bit difficult to fight him. The other boxing champions are all over 35 years old. Whether it is physical strength, technology, or speed, they are far behind their heyday. It is enough to defeat several of them in 3 rounds. This is not a woman's goal. Link spread his hands calmly. Simmons reached into his wig and scratched it, the corners of his mouth twitching uncontrollably. This guy just said that it would be embarrassing to brag in front of him alone. Now isn't this bragging? You should know that the boxing kings and former boxing champions just listed are all boxers in the first echelon of Kyoto boxing. In the 4 major professional boxing organizations WBA, WBC, IBF, WBO, they are ranked in the top 10. Although they are younger and not as strong as they were in the past, they still have the strength to challenge the world boxing champion. But in Link's mouth, defeating them in 3 rounds is not a goal of slaughter at all. Simmons' eyes turned, and he decided to broadcast these photos in the newspaper to see how the boxing champions would react after seeing them. Link, if they are not considered pornographic targets at all, then who is a more pornographic target in your eyes? Simmons. The Klitschko brothers. The Klitschko brothers are the owners of the heavyweight gold belts of the 4 major organizations in Southeast Asia. The eldest, Vitaly Klitschko, is 202 centimeters tall and has an arm length of 203 centimeters. He is the WBC heavyweight champion. The youngest, Vladimir Klitschko, is 199 centimeters tall and has an arm length of 206 centimeters. He holds 3 heavyweight gold belts from WBA, IBF and WBO. The two brothers are not only tall and have long arms, but also have good physical strength and comprehensive skills. Another important point is that defeating the older or younger brother usually leads to revenge from their brothers. The brothers often practice boxing together and study the opponent's fighting style. They are a headache-inducing combination. Link has only resumed training for less than a month. He is not mature enough in all aspects and believes that he is not yet a match for the two brothers. It is well known that you have issued challenges to several boxing champions. Now everyone wants to know when you will switch to professional boxing. Do you have an approximate time for the change of career? Probably next. Link thought for a while and said. Simmons nodded and then asked a few more questions, and Link answered them one by one. After nearly an hour of interviewing, Simmons finally picked up his things and left the diving shop contentedly. Chapter 41 Playboy. After seeing off Simmons and the gorgeous teacup, Link returned to her small theater. Emma sat quietly on the sofa, straightened her back, and stared at the nameless variety show. Wearing a blue sleeveless dress, she looked at her fair and slender arms, delicate and narrow collarbones, shallow vortices, and slender jade neck. She looked like a soft jade, and she looked like someone who wanted to hug and kiss her. On the low table opposite, there were 2 empty plates. The fruit salad and Cuban sandwich they had on them were gone now. It was obvious that Emma liked these 2 foods more. Link sat down next to her. Emma blinked her eyelashes, and a blush spread from her ears to her cheeks and neck. Her breathing began to quicken, her knees were tightly hugged together, the hem of her skirt trembled slightly, and a strange space began to appear on her body. Move around. Link just stretched out his hand to put his arm around her shoulders, and Emma glared at him and said, "What a little hedgehog." Link smiled lightly and put his arm around Emma's arm. Emma seemed to have melted ice cream and fell completely into his arms. "How does it feel? You are a beast." "Yes, then you are a cute little fat deer, and you startled my posture. So it was my fault." "No, the wind blew the sails. How can you say whose fault it is? Don't you like it?" "Of course not. I was almost dying last night." "Don't worry, I will take good care of you." Link pinched her upturned nose and said. Emma opened her mouth and bit his finger, raised her white and slender calf, pointed to the handprint on it, and asked angrily, "What should I do? I have to go to see the crew filming tomorrow. If my aunt sees it, she will definitely send you to jail. I can guarantee it." Link's several loud fingerprints made him look a little dazed. He recalled the scene when he was transforming a dump truck in the mine. He had to push out a dump truck filled with several kilograms of iron, all with all his strength. His waist, arms, and legs had to work together to push it out. After pushing the dump truck for 3 years, his hands were covered with thick calluses. They were blood blisters caused by friction, a gift for his healing, after repeated breakthroughs and healing. Because he pushed too many dump trucks, his waist, arms, and lower limbs were extremely strong. After practicing boxing, he also relied on these advantages to practice several killer moves, such as the back throw and the liver exploding punch. After the breakthrough, he did upside down sit-ups every day, and his waist strength became stronger. Those opponents whose waists were twice as thick as his were obviously not as good as him in terms of endurance and explosive power. And Emma was even worse. She was 165 centimeters tall and weighed less than 50 kilograms, so it was easy to get a KO on her. "Don't worry, apply the medicine and you won't see it tomorrow. I remember that in Harry Potter, Hermione didn't need to expose her calves." "You haven't seen the movie. How do you know it's not necessary?" "Don't be so absolute." Emma hummed softly while shaking her calf. Link smiled softly, took out a small medicine box, put her calf on his knee, and evenly applied ointment around the fingerprints. Emma saw that there were a lot of external injury medicines in the medicine box, and asked him if he often applied medicine to girls. Of course Link denied it. The diving shop is very close to the beach, and some regular customers have coughed because of pecking while playing in the water. A conscientious shop owner would naturally prepare medicine for injuries in the store. In addition, as a boxer, it would be strange if he didn't have medicine for injuries at home. After the ointment was used up, He put on the bandage and wrapped it around her calf twice. Suddenly, he remembered that some time ago, he had treated another girl's leg injury here. Link, you must be a playboy. Emma looked at his handsomeness, gentle movements, and the storm last night. She didn't think such a man would lack women, nor did she think any woman would be willing to leave him after becoming his girlfriend. Would you say that? Emma quickly glanced at the Playboy magazine on the table. That's James's. Link shook his head, lifted her chin, and smiled. You are the only woman I have for the time being. There is no need for me to lie to you about this kind of thing. Emma looked into his blue eyes, which were clear and clean without dodging. She nodded with satisfaction and lowered her head to kiss him. Link. Link. James shouted outside the door. Link touched Emma's cheek, kissed her forehead, and got up and walked outside the store. James was walking up the stairs, wearing a red baseball cap, with curly hair hanging down from the brim of the hat like a small cape, and his forehead was full of hot sweat. Beside him followed more than a dozen men with cameras and work bags. They looked elegant and well dressed. They should be Simmons' colleagues. Link, they are reporters. I met them on the road. They said they wanted to interview you. James shouted. Link glanced at him. The shop was his home and private territory. How could he bring reporters here? Simmons came just now. He first pretended to be a tourist, to get close to him, and then dragged him to chat for an hour. These reporters should go to West Boxing Gym to collect news, not the diving shop. James had no idea why he was stared at, but he didn't care. He pushed him aside when he entered the door, took out a bottle of iced Coke from the refrigerator, gulped it down, and suddenly it spurted out with a puff. He stared at the small theater. Emma, shut up. Link came to the beach at the door and held a small press conference. The reporters first congratulated him on winning the Golden Gloves Reserve Super Middleweight Championship and becoming the top-ranked amateur super middleweight boxer. The reporters expressed their gratitude. The next reporters asked a few questions that Simmons had asked. Link was not impatient and answered them one by one. Just answer it. There are many reporters here. He doesn't mind talking nonsense to attract attention. Mr. Link Baker, before the game yesterday, you publicly said that if Bernard Hopkins, Chris Bird, Valuv and other boxing champions dare to challenge you, you will beat them in 3 rounds. Otherwise you will be equal. If one of them accepts your challenge, will you dare to fight? The reporter of American Express asked. Of course, that sentence is always valid. I welcome them to challenge me. Mr. Link Baker, many people on the internet now call you Mr. Mouth Cannon, which means you like to talk big. Do you accept this award? The reporter of Baltimore Sun asked. Mouth Cannon? Link's face darkened. This is the icon of British fighting star Conor. He has no interest in it. Link said with a dark face. I don't understand the intentional implication of the slang term mouth cannon, but I don't like the explanation behind it. I like to brag. When have I ever bragged? Mr. Reporter, please give me an example. The Sun reporter thought for a while, raised his hand and said, Mr. Link Baker, you publicly challenged several boxing champions and boxing stars, and said that you would defeat them in 3 rounds and defeat Roy Jones Jr. in 1 round. Isn't this bragging? Is this it? Link smiled coldly, raised his finger and said, 7 days ago, I stood at the Florida regional competition and publicly stated that I would use the method of KOing all my opponents to enter the finals. You thought I was bragging and laughed at me. 3 days ago, I thought I was standing in the American Airlines arena and told all the reporters that I would continue to use the method of KOing all my opponents to win the championship. You thought I was bragging and continued to laugh at me. All of you KO Morales and Andre Berto to advance to the finals. Yesterday I stood on the boxing ring and told the host that I would KO Andre Berto in 5 rounds. You also thought I was bragging and continued to laugh at me. What was the result? I won the championship of the finals. 17 wins and 17 knockouts in 17 fights. Now I tell you, all those who doubt my strength can come and challenge me, and I will defeat them in 3 rounds. One of the games has not been played once, and you think I'm bragging, and want to continue to laugh at me? Dear reporters, you have been taught a lesson 3 times by facts. Why can't you wait and laugh at me after I'm defeated by those people? Not as good as Mr. Mouth Cannon? Sorry, I don't accept it. Link said lightly. The reporter of Baltimore Sun lowered his head and retreated quietly. Other reporters listened to his words and couldn't help but exclaimed and found that, although he liked to brag, he had never failed. He was indeed not a mouth cannon. Even if he was a mouth cannon, he was a powerful mouth cannon. Mr. Link Baker, I heard that, when you negotiated with the main event promotion company, you proposed a signing fee of $100 million, and when you negotiated with the top promotion company, you asked for a 70% refund. It's not because you asked for too high a price, no promotion company agreed, and you didn't sign anyone. The reporter of Baltimore Sun asked. I don't know where you got the news from. What I can tell you now is that I have no plans to contract a promotion company for the time being. If I do, I will notify you separately. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your interview, but I still have some personal matters to deal with. This interview ends here. If you have any questions, please go to West Boxing Club and make an appointment with Manager Robinson. I'm always available. Link waved his hand and closed the door. It would be better to watch a soap opera in the bathtub than to talk nonsense with these reporters. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42 Hollywood Director. Papa. That's a great point. If you say that, you shouldn't be a boxer. You should be a lawyer or a politician. Emma Watson clapped her hands and joked. Thank you for the compliment. Link rubbed her hair, but the girl angrily slapped him away and pulled his arm for a hug. Link, come out for a moment. Someone is looking for you. Link had just sat down and was about to squeeze in with Emma to watch a variety show when James shouted outside. Who is looking for me? If it's a reporter, let them go to the West Boxing Gym. We don't accept reporters here. Come out first. James urged. Link shook the watch, reluctantly shaping the soft Miss Emma, and came to the small shop in front. There was only the fat man James, no one else. When James saw him come out, he threw down the Playboy magazine and pulled him out the door. Who's looking for me? Me. James took his arm and walked to the door. He turned around and glanced in the direction of the hall and said in a low voice, "Why are you hugging Emma Watson? Is there a problem?" "Big problem." James nodded heavily and said with a worried look on his face, "Yesterday it was Taylor, and this time it's the more famous Emma Watson. Why do you like to hang out with celebrities?" The magazine said that a set of their underwear costs thousands and thousands, and a piece of jewelry costs hundreds of thousands. Where do you get so much money to play with them? Link glanced at them. You read fashion magazines all over the world, but you only remember the price of a piece of underwear? James paused and said with a sour face, "Don't joke, let's be serious. I say, we are ordinary people. It's most appropriate to find an ordinary girl, to fall in love and get married. Don't mess with those celebrities. Their lives are too luxurious, and you can't afford it at all." Link shook his head, grabbed his shoulders and patted him. "James, look at my face, my figure, and my genitals. How do you think I look like a normal person?" James blinked his eyes and looked him up and down. "I look like one." Link pushed him away and didn't intend to persuade him anymore. Just as he was about to go into the house, Michael from the surfboard shop waved and greeted him on the beach. A middle-aged man with a camera stood beside him. Link waved his hand and asked James to stay outside to block the reporters. Link, wait. Mr. Herrick wants to talk to you about something. Michael shouted. Michael, I have something to do today, and I won't accept the interview. If Mr. Herrick wants to interview me, please go to West Boxing Gym to make an appointment first. Link said. Link, Mr. Herrick is not a reporter, he is a director. Michael ran over and said excitedly, Mr. Herrick is really a director. Have you seen 101 Glitter Dogs? Have you seen Life is Beautiful Because of You? And The Bodyguard starring Tommy Lee Jones, all of which were directed by Mr. Herrick. Director? Link watched 101 Visual Dogs, one of the two films above. It tells the story of a dog lover and a fashion designer. It's a comedy film with good quality. But the other party is a famous director, and he wants to find me? To make a boxer movie? Link was a little confused. Before he could think about it, Michael excitedly told him the answer. Unlike what he imagined, this Mr. Herrick was not looking for him to make a movie, but wanted to find a skilled diver to take him to the surrounding islands and coral reefs. Link, have you seen Into the Blue starring Jessica Alba? Jessica's body is so hot. Columbia Pictures is preparing to shoot a sequel. Mr. Herrick is the director of the sequel. He is looking for a filming location for the new movie. He thinks we are very good here and promised to let me play a small role. Michael danced with excitement. Link shook his head and said, just now he thought that his outstanding performance in the boxing ring alarmed the Hollywood director and made President Obama come to him to seek cooperation. Now it seems that he was overthinking. The director named Herrick came over. He was a young man in his 40s or 50s. He was wearing a white lapel t-shirt with a green vest with many pockets on the outside. He had red skin, big ears, and white stubble on his chin. Looking closely, his clothes were indeed very different from those of the reporters. Michael introduced him to Herrick in an exaggerated tone, saying that Link's diving skills were superb, comparable to those of Olympic athletes. Director Rick did not comment. He told Link that he wanted to go to the nearby islands and asked Link if there were any beautiful coral reefs or dangerous reefs nearby. Infinity 2 would be in the style of the first rainforest, shooting some sunshine and beauties. Link did not know what the other party's standards were and did not over-describe the surrounding attractions. He just explained the distribution and characteristics of the coral reefs and reefs near the seabed below and let Herrick judge for himself whether they were beautiful or not. Director Herrick said he wanted to see it, asked him to lead the way, and would pay him. Link returned to the store and learned that Emma had said that James asked him to find a suitable diving suit for Director Herrick to change into. It is estimated that he drove a speedboat and took the other party to the nearby islands, reefs, and coral reefs. The Lighthouse Baker Shop charges a relatively high fee, with diving equipment for 200 people per day, diver guide service, 200 yuan for half an hour, speedboat pickup service, 100 people each time, and 200 sentences for more than an hour. Manhattan Commercial Shop can earn 2,000, the most earned during this period. Just after landing, Director Herrick always stared at him with strange eyes. Mr. Herrick, what's the matter? Link raised the diving equipment satellite. Director Herrick sat on the deck, looked at him and smiled. Before Michael praised your diving skills as world class, I didn't quite believe it. I didn't think there would be any diving experts in a beach shop. Now I believe it. Your diving skills are rarely matched by you. Thank you. Link smiled lightly, declined the cigarette handed over by the other party, and took out a bottle of mineral water and handed it to the other party. Link, your image in the past was very outstanding, and it was also at the top level among Hollywood actors. Have you considered Hollywood development? Director Herrick said, while smoking a cigarette. Can you be an actor just by your good looks? Haha, you couldn't do that before. In the past, people regarded movies as art and paid more attention to the acting skills of the performers. Without acting skills, you would starve to death in Hollywood. But now it's different. Movies are just a form of entertainment. People just laugh after watching them. You don't need superb acting skills. Just being pretty is enough. Good-looking actors with good acting skills are more likely to attract the audience's attention. This is the current situation in the entertainment industry. Director Herrick shrugged, looking a little melancholy. Sounds good, I will. Herrick laughed, handed him a business card, took his contact information, and said that he would introduce him to suitable roles. Chapter 43 Olympic Qualification. Emma stayed in Baker's Inn for 1 day and 2 nights. At her aunt's urging, she returned to Orlando without hesitation, to continue filming the remaining scenes of Harry Potter. She also had no scenes in this Orlando, and there was only about half a month left. Link rested for 2 days, and returned to the boxing gym to continue practicing boxing. Coach, Link is here. Seeing Link coming out of the door, an apprentice named Jim stepped on the stairs and ran upstairs, shouting that Link was here. Link looked up, and glanced at the second floor. He saw West, Robinson, Reggie, Mario, and the boxer apprentices standing at the stairs on the second floor, leaning down to look down. Are you there? Link, come up. Reggie waved and shouted. Link went up to the second floor. As soon as he reached the stairs, there were several bangs above his head and several fireworks exploded. Others were applauding and cheering, calling Link the champion. Haven't we already celebrated? Why are we celebrating again? Link asked, patting the ribbon on his shoulder. I don't think it's necessary either. A champion wins the championship, not a boxing champion. They are exaggerating. Mario curled his lips and stood outside the crowd with an expression of non-participation. Coach West glared at him fiercely and then smiled and pulled Link to the wall of honor in the boxing gym, locked the golden gloves on him, and asked him to hold it up and take a few photos. The golden gloves trophy originally belonged to Link, but Baker's shop was too small to put many things, so he put the trophy in the boxing training gym. West and Robinson can also use this trophy as a trick to make more tricks. Link smiled lightly, raised the fist-sized golden gloves trophy, stood in front of the wall of honor, and took a few photos with West. Haha, now our boxing gym also has a champion. I hope that in the future we can have more champions and more boxing champions. Everyone applauded. With Robinson's achievement, everyone applauded, and Link also clapped his hands. Link, wait. Coach West took out a car key from his pocket and handed it to Link. It's not safe for you to ride a motorcycle today. I have a Pontiac GTO motorcycle right downstairs. The green one is the one I bought 30 years ago. It's an old car and I haven't driven it for a long time. You can drive it. Link was a little surprised when he looked at the key in his hand. When he first came, he saw a very cool retro modification downstairs. He thought it was a guest in the boxing gym. He looked at it a few more times and accidentally saw West's. West could afford a piece of equipment more than 30 years ago. It seems that he is also an old man with plenty of money. Wait. Link was hesitating not to accept it. Mario rushed in from outside, grabbed the car key in Link's hand, looked at the logo on it, pointed at the tomatoes on the street downstairs and asked, West, don't tell me it was that time. Yes, I just drove it here. West snatched the key back and stuffed it into Link's hand, not allowing him to refuse. Are you serious? That's a restaurant car, worth more than 200,000 yuan. Are you going to drive it for Link? Mario asked in surprise. Not for Link, but to deliver it to Link. Since I won't drive it, it's useless to leave it there. It can also bring out its value if I give it to Link. Deliver it to Link. Mario shouted in surprise, looking at West with trembling eyes. Last time I saw it, you wouldn't let me touch it. Now you deliver the whole car to Link? Send it to him for nothing? West nodded and said to Link, don't refuse. It's just an old car, not worth much. Find me in the evening to handle the registration procedures. Link, you don't really want it, do you? Mario smiled lightly, put away the car keys, and thanked West. He and West have a coaching contract. In the future, he will enter the professional boxing arena and win prize money. West can get inspiration, and the money he earns by then will be more than a few $100,000. There is a store worth 100,000 or 200,000 yuan. Since West is willing to give it, he dare not accept it. Haha, Link, that's right. Come to my office. I have some very good news to tell you. You will be very excited to hear it. West said with a smile while walking. The happy event was in high spirits. West's face was flushed at this time, and his complexion was much better than the previous few days. Mario looked at their figures, grabbed Reggie beside him, shook his shoulders and said, can you believe it? West sent Link in the banquet car that he had treasured for many years. He was so stingy with food, but he actually sent a businessman to Link. Is he crazy? Reggie shrugged. This is normal. In the past, some people often laughed at West's training, saying that he had taught boxing for nearly 30 years and had taught several boxers, but he didn't have a champion or a boxing champion. Now Link has won the Golden Gloves Championship and won the honor for the boxing gym and West. West was very happy, and it was normal to reward Link with a championship. But Link is only a champion, not a world champion, nor a world boxing champion. He actually gave it to us? This is too exaggerated. Mario said with gritted teeth. Just a championship? Why don't you try training with one? Reggie smiled and returned to the training area to continue replenishing his strength. Okay, I'll also bring back a championship and see what West rewards me with. Mario. After the afternoon training, Link drove the Pontiac GTO back to the diving shop. James, Daniel from the hot dog shop, Michael from the surfboard shop, and Cez from the Mexican barbecue shop were sitting under the parasol playing poker. Seeing a cool sports car coming over, James immediately played his cards and greeted with a smile. "Sir, you are back. What do you need? We have the best Link in our store. Why are you here? Why are you driving a sports car? Whose motorcycle is this?" "Mine." Link opened the car door and got out of the car. "Your motorcycle? Where did you get the motorcycle?" Hearing that it was his motorcycle, Daniel, Michael, and Cez also threw down their cards, ran over to take a look, touch it, and kept exclaiming. The Pontiac GTO is a model from the 1970s, with a classic and elegant style. The body design is relatively wide, which forms lines full of touch. The production was not high at that time, and only about 30,000 units were produced. It was discontinued for more than 20 years, and was relaunched in 2004. The current model of Link is a little worse in terms of power, but the appearance is very cool, and has a sense of age. It is a famous car, that car collectors like to collect. "Link, you haven't answered one of my questions yet." James looked back at Link, who was sitting on a beach chair drinking soda. "Of course I bought it. Where did you buy tomatoes? Oh, by the way, your competition prize money is 100,000. Did you buy it with today's money? If I had known that boxing could make money like this, I would have practiced boxing too." Daniel touched the equipment and drooled with envy. "Link, you took the prize money you earned hard to sell to the Ministry of Finance. This is too uneconomical. You should save money to buy an apartment first, and then buy a car after you have an apartment. And it is not as practical as a family car." James wrinkled his fleshy face, looking unsupportive. Link smiled, and the four did not refute. Daniel wanted to test drive, and Link took their shift, and went back to the house, to continue fitness and exercise. Just at West's place, he received a new task. Sleepboxing competition is also a key event in all previous Olympic Games. Starting from the 3rd Olympic Games in 1904, except for the 5th, 6th, 12th, and 13th Olympic Games, which were not held for various reasons, there were boxing events in other Olympic Games. Olympic events are the same as other events. Before the opening of the Olympic Games, various regions will hold trials, first round of qualifying competitions, and second round of qualifying competitions. Athletes compete for Olympic places through competitions. There are 284 places in the event, including 9 host countries, 60 in Africa, 53 in Asia, 91 in Europe, 60 in America, and 11 in Oceania. There are 5 to 12 weight classes in boxing events, and there are 10 classes in the Hanging Olympic Games, 48, 51, 57, 60, 67, 71, 75, 81, 91, and 91 kilograms or more. There are 60 places in the Americas. 3 in the super heavyweight class, over 91 kilograms, 3 in the heavyweight class, 81 to 91 kilograms, and 6 in each other weight class. In the first round of qualifying, which was held in November last year, 32 boxers from the Americas region won the Olympic quota in advance. The second round of qualifying will be held in Havana, Cuba from July 2nd to 7th. Boxers of all levels from more than 30 countries and regions in the Americas will compete for the remaining 28 places. There are still 2 places left in the middleweight class in the Americas. According to relevant regulations, before participating in the second round of qualifying, you need to participate in the Olympic trials in March this year, and those with excellent results will enter the qualifying. Link did not come at that time, and did not participate in the trials, but he performed well in the Golden Gloves Championship. After discussion, the sports committee and the Boxing Association decided to give him a reserve place. Half a month later, he went to Havana with the American boxing team to participate in the qualifying competition, to compete for the remaining championship places. When the committee notified him, Link had some uneasiness and struggle in his heart. Should he represent the American team and go to Hanging to participate in the Olympics? The result of the struggle is, participating in the Olympics was his long cherished wish in his previous life, and it was also a huge regret. He was willing to practice boxing with Liu, and another important reason was that he could represent the country in the sports meeting in the future and compete for honor for the country. In amateur competitions, he fought bravely and kept fighting, and also hoped to achieve good results in amateur competitions and be favored by the provincial team. However, he met a weak and bad-mouthed relative in the competition. He accidentally killed the man and was imprisoned. Later, he fell into the underground boxing ring to play, and his dream was getting farther and farther away. Now that he has come through, he has the opportunity to make up for the regrets of his previous life. It would be a pity to miss it. The additional championship is the highest and largest sports event in the world. Winning a gold medal in the Olympics can not only win honors, but also take the opportunity to promote yourself and let more people know you. With the halo of an Olympic champion, he is about to enter the professional boxing world, and his development will be smoother. For example, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Lennox Lewis, Vladimir Klitschko, Sugar Ray Leonard, Mayweather and others. Before turning professional, they all participated in the Olympics and won gold medals. As for competing with his motherland for the gold medal in the competition, he was not worried. At that time, the motherland team performed generally in the middleweight class, and no one entered the finals. He could enter the finals and fight freely. After confirming that he would participate in the Olympic qualifiers, Link redoubled his efforts in training. He strived to improve his strength, technology, reaction ability, etc. to a higher level before this year's Olympic qualifiers. Bang bang bang. Chapter 44 Girlfriend? Link, Jesus from the repair shop just said that this is the second generation of the 1966 Pontiac GTO. The market price is at least $200,000. There is no place to buy it. Where did you buy it for $100,000? Daniel and the other two were still hanging after walking the car, curiously chatting about the price of the car. Link hung upside down on the iron rack, got a 40-pound barbell plate, and waved his hand. Don't bother me, I'm exercising. Daniel turned his head and looked at him, jokingly. Link, did a rich woman buy it for you? Link ignored him and continued to do sit-ups. Link, look at me, I'm not bad, and I've been dissected. Can you take me with you? How about we join forces to conquer the rich women's circle in Miami? Michael from the surf shop bulged his arms and said with a wink. Link, did a rich woman really buy it for you? Are you doing this to Grandpa Baker, who is about to expire? James frowned and looked at him strangely. Get out, all of you, Link said with a dark face, waving the barbell. The three ran away laughing. Ding ling ling. The phone rang. Link ignored it the first time. The second time, James ran in from outside, took the phone from the low table in the theater, handed it to him, and said after a pause, "It's Taylor's call, Lynn, that rich woman. I support you and Taylor being together. Thank you, you can go out now." Link took the phone, turned over and sat on the iron rack, and picked up Taylor's phone. Link, is what the news said true? Are you really with Emma Watson? Taylor asked with a thick nasal voice, as if crying. Me and Emma? Link frowned slightly. Was his affair with Emma Watson exposed by the paparazzi? He jumped off the rack and walked to the counter, saying to Taylor as he walked, "Fake news. Emma and I know each other, but I'm not lying." "Really? You're not with Emma Watson, Philip?" Taylor's voice suddenly jumped up, wanting to hear some very happy news. "Yes, we are just friends." Link shrugged. Yesterday, Emma said that her family and company thought that she was still young, and her fans were also young. She should establish a pure and academic persona now, and it is best not to have an open relationship, so they can only interact with each other quietly and not tell others. Link did not object. Having a regular girlfriend requires pretending to ask about her well-being every day, calling her to serve her, accompanying her when she is happy, and coaxing her to be happy when she is unhappy. In short, it is very troublesome and will affect daily training. Emma's proposal also sweeted his taste. It is suspected that Emma had no intention of publicly admitting that when Taylor asked this question, he could not bear any responsibility, and it had nothing to do with Emma. He came to the counter, opened his laptop, and searched for Emma Watson on Google. The webpage was full of news about Emma Watson's new relationship. There is a group of photos above, which were secretly taken when he and Emma hugged and said goodbye on the train. Yahoo Entertainment News said that the heroine of Harry Potter, Emma Watson, was dating a mysterious boyfriend during filming in Orlando. Because he was wearing sunglasses in the photo, his face looked clear and straight, and he could only be seen as slender and strong, and his facial expression was handsome and three-dimensional. Many reports speculated on the identity of the new boyfriend, but soon a media released Link's photo, claiming that the man was boxer Link Baker, the Golden Glove super middleweight champion, and one of the best newcomers of the year by Ring magazine. After netizens compared it, they found that the man was as similar to Link as 90%. Emma Watson is one of the 4 new flowers selected by The Hollywood Reporter, and is quite popular. After the scandal was exposed, the news of the two dating was posted on major news websites, and the spread rate was getting higher and higher. Link, how did you get together with Emma Watson? Taylor asked. We met during the competition. Link briefly explained how he met Emma in Orlando. After hearing this, Taylor breathed a sigh of relief and asked, Link, do you have a girlfriend now? No. I've been training recently, and don't have time to find a girlfriend. Great. How about I be your girlfriend? What? Link's hand that was sliding the mouse paused, and his attention returned to the phone. Link, I like you. I liked you from the first time I saw you. After leaving Miami, I thought about you every day, and wrote 3 songs for you. So are we in a good relationship? Taylor finished panting on the phone. His tone was very rapid and there was a slight gasp. Link didn't know how to respond to Taylor. Being liked by a future singing superstar was naturally a happy thing. But the liking that Taylor said didn't seem so reliable. If he really liked her, how could he leave Miami completely? How could he break his promise at the finals? How could he suddenly confess over the phone after so long, when he heard that she was in a relationship with someone else? And he wrote 3 songs for me? Can this also represent the degree of liking? Link, did you agree without saying anything? Taylor asked cautiously. Link felt that she was very brave, and said with a smile, Taylor, this happened so suddenly. I'm a little surprised. I didn't know you would like a boy like me. But I really like you, very much. I'm promoting my new album recently, and don't have time to come to Miami. Next month, I have fewer schedules, so I will come to Miami Beach to accompany you, okay? Let's dive together, play guitar together, sing together, and watch the heavy rain on the sea together, okay? Link listened to her description and thought the picture was very loving, but next month he has to compete and train, and then go to Hanjin to participate in the Olympics. Taylor has just debuted and must be busy with work, so his time will be very limited. Taylor, it's not convenient to discuss this kind of thing on the phone. How about we think about it for a while after you come, and then decide whether we want an assistant. Okay. Link, wait for me. I will come to Miami soon, and then I will teach you to play the guitar and sing. Taylor said happily. After hanging up the phone, Link suddenly felt a little strange. Before the call, he was a standard bachelor. After the call, he suddenly had a prospective girl, the future queen of the sea, Taylor Swift. She must have seen the scandal between him and Emma and was stimulated, just like someone took away his favorite snacks and suddenly made a decision. It can't be taken seriously. Ding-ling-ling. The phone rang again. It was Emma Watson's call. Emma's voice was also a little depressed. She said that after the scandal between the two was exposed, her aunt blamed her for not hiding it. Her mother and father called and asked her to go back after filming. Link comforted her a few words and said that he would drive to Orlando to find her tomorrow. It only takes 2 hours to drive from Miami to Orlando, which is very convenient. Emma shouted happily, and her voice became cheerful. She asked him tonight. Link said that there were too many paparazzi around her these 2 days. It would be easy to be photographed if she went there now, which would have a bad impact. He would wait until the news heat subsided. Emma reluctantly agreed and kissed the microphone several times. But before he put down the phone, Emma's Aunt Irene's voice came over the phone. Emma told him in an undertone that she hoped he could keep up with the publicity of Emma's company and not tell reporters about similar relationships. It's better to keep silent in front of the media, saying that this is also for Emma's good. Emma is just 18 years old, and her fans hope that she will be like Hermione, smart, pure, and studious. An open relationship is not suitable for Emma. Link agreed. He hung up the phone and looked at the time. An hour had passed since he left the iron rack. An hour of exercise time was wasted in vain. Liu was right. Falling in love is a taboo for boxers. Link decided to practice for 2 more hours to make up for the lost hour. Chapter 45. Training God. After the news of him and Emma Watson broke out, Emma's aunt, Ms. Erin, held a press conference to clarify that the two were good friends and were in mutual consultation. They were not in a relationship at the moment. It depends on the development of their relationship. The bilateral relationship will not affect each other. If the relationship is confirmed, the media and fans will be notified in a timely manner. Erin thanked the media for their attention and concern for Emma at the press conference and took the initiative to talk about Emma's new film Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, feeding reporters with enough news material. Link Jackson did not show up, but only let Robinson hold a small press conference under the boxing gym. Robin said that Link Jackson was recruited by the sports committee and was preparing for the Olympic Games American qualifying tournament at the beginning of next month. He had no time to receive reporters for the time being. Regarding the news, Robinson expressed congratulations and did not answer. Seeing that neither party publicly admitted it, the gossip media had no new hype material and could not continue to report. The gossip incident also gradually subsided because the media shifted its attention to the news that Anne Hathaway was arrested for suspected fraud by her boyfriend. The gossip incident had 2 effects on Link. One was that Tenna's number of phone calls increased. On average, they would call each other once a day, either in the morning or in the evening, asking about his training and competitions, and also talking about her work in the recording studio and her new songs and albums, just like they were in love. Secondly, his dates with Emma became more secretive, mostly at night, in secluded hotels, in the suburbs, or on uninhabited islands. Although dating outside was not as comfortable as in the bedroom of a small shop, it was also full of freshness and excitement. Although he had to deal with the training of 2 girls, Link's training did not fall behind. Now, after getting up every day, he runs, skips ropes, swims in the sea, does sit-ups, lifts weights, and boxing. Apart from training, he never gets tired. Bang, bang, bang. In the brightly lit boxing gym, more than a dozen boxing apprentices are practicing boxing postures in front of the boxing target, shouting while punching, and they are fighting in a very good manner. In the middle, Link is wearing a blue letter on white body, pure cotton shorts, and fashionable palm bandages on his hands, standing in front of a cream-colored rubber boxing target shirt. He used his fists to strike alternately, hitting the head of the human-shaped boxing target quickly, squatting, changing his punching styles continuously with left, jab plus right jab plus left straight punch plus right straight punch plus left swing punch plus right swing punch plus left uppercut punch plus right uppercut punch plus upper throw punch plus back throw punch, and continuously punched more than 50 times in 1 minute, using his greatest strength. While striking, he kept moving his feet and continuously changed the direction of attack. After more than 2 hours of continuous boxing, a circle of water stains appeared on the floor around him. T stuck tightly to his back, taking out the pieces of mounds. The structure, the lines were clear, as if cast in steel, full of metal contours. Every time he punched, all parts of his body slid under the skin, like a metal python, full of fierce flavor. After 2 months of training, his image has changed a lot. His skin color has changed from milky white to bronze. His delicate and weak face has become masculine and handsome. His figure is taller and stronger than before, and his body is more resilient. It was his temperament, from a pale young man to a mature, resolute, tough, and full of mixed breath. It also made Daniel, Michael and others tease him, saying that he dared to go to the rich area of Manhattan Beach, and those rich women would never let him go out standing. And James, he should be careful. It is better to put a gun in the car to prevent men from robbing money and women from robbing. Link naturally would not listen to them. In the training for more than half a month, his strength, speed, boxing skills and other aspects have made great progress, which is better than before the Golden Gloves Reserve. Even if he encounters armed robbers, he can deal with 4 or 5 with his bare hands. Bang bang bang. How can Link's dissection be so symmetrical, just like the simulated robots in the movie? I wish I could be like him. In the rest area, Reggie puffed up the dissection on his body and was very envious. Symmetrical? Mario curled his lips and said disapprovingly, "Who are we? We are boxers. Boxers need big guys. And what is the use of giant amputations and symmetry except for looking good?" Link's strength is also very terrifying. Ordinary people can't take a punch from him. If you don't believe me, you can compete with him. Reggie looked at Link's fist and admired. "I practiced for more than 6 hours a day. Even West praised me for my great progress. I'm not the same person as before. Even if Link wants to beat me, it won't be so easy. One punch? It's impossible." He raised his fist and puffed up the amputated part of his arm. This month's hard training has also paid off. Although his figure is still not like a tumbler, with a big belly and short legs, the anatomical structure of his arms and body has been improved, making them stronger, more resistant to blows, and his boxing skills are better than last month. He believes that he will fight Link again. He will never be knocked out by him with one punch like before. "Link, how about we go to the boxing ring and fight for 12 rounds? Mario put on his boxing gloves and bumped his two fists in front of his chest. His shoulders were shaking. Link looked at him, put away his fists, picked up a bottle of cold water, and poured it on his hot body. He asked his apprentice Jim to bring boxing gloves, and put them on, and followed Mario to the boxing ring. Reggie and several other boxers and apprentices saw the two boxers stop fighting, and gathered around the boxing ring to watch the fight. West also came down from the 3rd floor, saw a pair of boxing rings, and immediately shouted, "Where are you? Coach, Mario wants to compete with Link." Apprentice Jim shouted, "Mario, why don't you wear protective gear? Don't you know that Link's fists have sleep? Put on the protective gear before the game." West shouted. Mario was stunned for a moment, and his big face suddenly turned red. He clenched his fists and looked at West angrily. "West, I have been doing fitness training every day during this period. My ability to withstand blows is much better than before. I can take Link's fists without protective gear. Please don't insult me. Don't talk nonsense. Put on the protective gear quickly." West asked Jim and several apprentices to send the protective gear to the cattle ring, and took Mario to wear it. The head protector, chest and abdomen vest, high elastic sponge protective gear, and sponge gloves can at least remove 70% of the opponent's strength, and boxing can reduce the damage caused by boxing. Mario gritted his teeth and looked at Link angrily. All these humiliations were brought by Link. Today, with the help of protective gear, I must fight a comeback. Let the master recognize me again. Me, Mario Joe, the future heavyweight champion, is a nobody. Chapter 46 Teammates Gathering. Link, get down. Mario swung his angry fist and smashed at Link. This punch not only contained his 800 pounds of strength, but also his grievances and unwillingness during this period of time. Bang. 1.3 seconds later, Mario fell heavily on the boxing ring, covered with hard rubber mats, splashing. Wow. There was a deafening sound around. When I saw Mario's aggressive ground field, I thought it was a evenly matched match. However, Mario had just swung his fist, and before he reached Link, he was knocked out by Link's back throw. It was almost the same as the last time Mario was KO'd. The difference was that Mario took 2 more steps back than the first time, and his back hit the ropes, which bounced back. He was determined not to give up, so he fell to the boxing ring. It's the same move again. It's the same move again. Mario sat on the boxing ring, looking at the headlights above his head, his face full of grief and anger. When he was about to compete with Link, he relied on his own strength and strong body to compete with Link for 12 rounds. He didn't think of his killer move, the back throw, or defense. As a result, he beat the floor angrily, sat up and glared at Link angrily. "Why do you use this move every time? Don't you know other boxing techniques besides this one?" "Because it works well," Link said lightly. "This move is simple and old-fashioned, but very practical. It is always effective against boxers like Manhattan Mario who are slow, have average reaction ability and average skills." Despicable. "Link, we agreed that this is an internal competition, not a competition. You are not allowed to use the back throw, and other killer moves are not allowed. We only rely on strength and body shape, like the ancient Roman gladiators. Head-on confrontation. You dare not come?" Mario shouted while beating his chest with his fist. "Come." The bargaining continued. Mario roared, waved his fists, and rushed towards Link like crazy. Right straight punch, left hook, right straight punch, left uppercut. Each punch was used with all his strength, and his two thick arms were like thick. He believed that, as long as he could hit Link with a punch, he would have a chance to get a KO on Link, because Link was not wearing protective gear. But Link, this bastard, dodged too fast, sliding, rubbing, lunging, Ali's butterfly step. Each move was used very skillfully. When fighting in the boxing ring, first in the dance hall, Mario saw him 0.5 meters in front of his body, and he could knock him down with one punch. But when the fist hit there, his body danced away, and at the same time, his swinging punch had swept across and hit his head steadily. But Link didn't use much strength and took it back after a hit. Mario punched 32 times in a row and didn't hit Link once, but Link hit his head 21 times in a row. 21 times. 21 punches. Mario was going crazy. If he was knocked out by Link with one punch, he would have accepted it immediately. But Link didn't kill him every time. He just hit him on the head, which was like an adult teasing a child. Mario felt like he was hit by tons of blows. After several consecutive punches missed, and his head was hit several times, he was completely angry, and no longer followed any rules. He stretched out his arms to hug Link, and wanted to throw him to the ring and punch him on the ground to vent his anger. "Mario, you!" West shouted angrily. Mario ignored him, roared, hugged Link around the waist, and tried to use the WWE hold, and throw Link to the ground. "I believe that with my strength and size, I can definitely do it. No matter what, I have to make Link look bad in public." As long as he squeezed Link hard, no matter how hard he used, Link's legs were still stable on the ring. With a braid, he couldn't hold it up. He took a closer look and found a strange smile on the corner of Link's mouth. This made him feel cold on his back. Just when he was about to let go, he suddenly felt weightless. With a cry of "ah!" Link grabbed him by the waist and the back of his neck and spun him in his hands. Then he felt dizzy and his back hit the boxing ring. His body bounced upwards, and his big belly trembled. Wow. There were bursts of exclamations from all around. The apprentices were shocked by the wrestling skills Link suddenly made. They didn't expect that Link was not only good at boxing, but also very good at fighting. Mario, who weighed nearly 100 kilograms, was like a large rag doll in his hands. It was too fierce. Everyone looked at Link with burning eyes, as if they were looking at a peerless master, and they wanted to kneel down and call him master. Link smiled gently. When he was fighting in the underground boxing ring, it was difficult to survive by boxing alone. He also learned some wrestling, fighting, and Muay Thai moves. Mario's hug and throw were just child's play in his eyes. Bang, bang. A burst of crisp applause came from the aisle. The apprentices turned their heads in surprise. A few people came down the aisle. Mantis Hand and Edge Fonfula, Dreadlock Mario Morales, Small-Headed Jones Falas, and Andre Berto, accompanied by manager Robinson, were leading the way for the four. Like Link, the four were recruited by the sports committee and the boxing association to represent the super middleweight athletes and compete for the TUR championships. Havana is located on the other side of the Florida Strait, 358 kilometers away, and it only takes half an hour to fly. Therefore, most of the athletes who come to participate in the qualifying competition first fly to the captain, go through the exit procedures, and then take a ship or plane to Cuba. Morales and the other four are the same. This is also the reason why the four of them are here. "Ke, I didn't expect you to be able to wrestle and corner, it's amazing." Mantis Hand and Edge waved his long arms and gestured. "Link, that move just now was really cool, isn't it the invincible big spin in Street Fighter?" Dreadlock Morales shouted. Link laughed, jumped off the ring, and extended his fist to bump with the four people. From being opponents before, to being opponents now, the qualifying round is about to begin. In the next few days, everyone must unite against the enemy and jointly deal with opponents from the other 34 countries. The mission is to get the remaining 2 places in hand. Internal strife is unnecessary, not to mention that Link is an amateur elite. With him, the US team has an extra chance of winning. And Edge, Morales, and Jones Falls responded to Link enthusiastically, thinking of their long lost friends, and did not take the beating in the ring to heart at all. After all, this is the boxing world, and it is normal to be beaten. Only Andre Berto saw Link greeted him, and the resentment on his face was not concealed. He stared at him with black and white eyes. Obviously, he had not started the bullying that day. Link laughed, not comparing, and invited a few people to have tea and talk about the game the day after tomorrow. Received the recommendation notification for entering the second round. Thank you for your support. Add 1 to express your gratitude. Chapter 47. Terrible Link. The qualifying competition is similar to the Golden Glove scoring. In the first round, the top-ranked boxer of all participating countries will fight against the second-ranked boxer of another country. The first place is defeated, the second place is also defeated, and the third place wins and has another chance to participate in the challenge. If the third place also fails, the country's team will be wiped out. The first place is defeated, the second place succeeds, and the second place replaces the first place and continues to participate in the competition. The first place also has a chance to participate in the challenge. If both succeed in the second round, it will be like Link and Jones Fowlers in the Golden Gloves control, playing separately. If Jones Fowlers won the match against Andre Berto, he would win and replace Andre and compete against Link again, but he did not. The qualifying competition is generally the same. It's just that there are more participating teams. Link needs to play more games, and his opponents are also from Andre and others, becoming Cuba, Mexico, Canada, Brazil and other countries. In the super middleweight class, the top-ranked boxer in the sport of boxing, although the United States leads the world, other American countries are also quite strong. Mexico, Canada, and Cuba, like the United States, are traditional boxing powers and have produced world-class boxing champions of super high rank. For example, Mexico has the god of war Julio Cesar Chavez, the legendary boxing champion Salvador Sanchez who defended the WBC featherweight champion 9 times, the Hall of Fame boxing champion Olivares, the Hall of Fame boxing champion Arizmendi, the Hall of Fame boxing champion Vicente Saldivar, etc. More than 10 world-class boxing champions. In terms of level, the United States is not a match for Mexico. Cuba is also a boxing powerhouse, having won 31 gold, 12 silver, and 18 bronze medals in the Olympic boxing events, only slightly inferior to the United States' 42 gold, 21 silver, and 35 bronze medals. In the recent Olympic boxing events, it has continuously crushed the US boxing team. There are also boxing champions in Argentina, Brazil, Puerto Rico, Haiti, Jamaica, Guatemala and other American countries. These countries have united and often grabbed 5/6 of the places in the boxing qualifying competitions of the previous American Olympic Games. There are 2 places under the super middleweight limit, and Link and his team will have 1 or more tough battles in the future. Hey, boys, does anyone want to practice with Link? After chatting for a while, Dreadlock Mora felt itchy, picked up the boxing gloves, and asked Anders Edge, Jones Foles, and Andre Berto. Anders Edge waved his hands. I won't fight with Link. He is fast and powerful. If I really fight him, I can't last a circle. Andre Berto glanced at Link and waved his hands. Although Link cheated in the last finals, Andre had to admit that he was inferior to Link in terms of technology, strength, speed, physical strength, and specifications. In the next game, he did not beat Link. Another half-month has passed, and he also wants to see if Link has made any progress during this period. If not, it won't be too late to fight back. Jones Foles stretched out his arms, leaned on the ring, grinned, and said, Link's back throw is too powerful. I can't take it for the time being. Mario, you have strong resistance to blows. Fight with Link first, let's see. Okay, Link, do you want to fight? Morales put on boxing gloves and cursed hard. Link smiled. The 4 people came from afar to practice and were guests. Of course, he would not refuse. He asked several apprentices to help Mario, who had just woken up, to rest, and then took out 2 sets of protective gear for the opponent. Boxing. Link and Morales bumped fists, and the sparring began. Morales is strong in resistance to blows, good in physical strength, and has a heavy fist. He is a heavy gunner. His disadvantages: that he is slow, 180 centimeters tall, and 182 centimeters long, 10 centimeters shorter than Link, which is a disappointing gap. Just like Chris Bird, whose arms are 188 centimeters long, fighting Vladimir Klitschko, whose arms are 206 centimeters long, his arms are too short, and he didn't win in 2 fights in 2000 and 2006. He was suppressed. Bang! Morales swung his thick arms and threw a straight punch at Link's head. Link commanded his right arm to break the block and swung his left fist at the same time. This was a set of early stage combination punches, otherwise he would subconsciously throw a combination punch when he was attacked by his opponent. This kind of combination punch requires years of training, forming the extracted memory and intuition, so that he can throw it in the shortest time during the game. The more previous combination punches, the smoother it is. Link's left fist hit Morales' head. "Mario, be careful," Jones shouted from the audience. Morales turned his head and saw Link's right swing punch rushing towards his head. He wanted to dodge, but it was too late. His body couldn't keep up with the speed of his mind. Bang! Link's fist hit Morales' temple lightly, and then he quickly retracted his hand. "Be careful, Morales." Link laughed. "Fuck, Link, how come you are so fast again? I can't defend you at all." Morales roared angrily. "Your punch is even heavier." Link laughed. The two continued to practice. Considering the game the day after tomorrow, Link no longer attacked Morales' head, but only attacked Morales' arms and shoulders, as well as the parts protected by protective gear. Morales is strong and wears protective gear, so he fights very smoothly. He is more suitable as a sparring partner than the other Mario. When the opponent was practicing, Anders Edge, Andre Berto, and Jones Foles stood by and watched. Damn it. He was already very skilled. How did he improve again? He is so good. How can we get ahead in the future? Anders Edge frowned and sighed. He initially practiced boxing and trained for 15 or 16 years. Technique is his specialty and the foundation for him to gain a foothold in the ground boxing circle. From the previous competitions, even if he met Andre Berto, he could fight well. But when it came to Link, it was bad. Link not only suppressed him in terms of technology, but also obviously surpassed him in other aspects. There was no chance of winning against him. And Zajer only felt powerless. He has great skills, and his combination punches are becoming more and more skilled. This guy's talent in boxing is enviable. Jones Foles praised. Yes, he is a real genius. At first, some people called me that, but compared with Link, there is no comparison. And Zajer shrugged and said. Jones Foles glanced at Andre Berto next to him. "Andre Berto, why don't you say anything?" Andre Berto shook his head and sighed. "Do you know how he defeated me in the 5th round of the last game? Didn't Goo defeat him directly?" Jones Foles and Zajer looked at him curiously. "Shit. If I insist on donating in the 5th round, he will never be able to knock me down." Andre Berto looked at the ring angrily. "Haha, Andre, there is something that everyone is interested in. When the match reached the 5th round that day, everyone knew that you should defend, but you chose to actively attack Lin. Why? Some people say that you are accompanying him in a fake fight. Is that true?" Andre Berto said with a dark face and grief. "When the match reached the 5th round, Link, that bastard, told me that he would completely KO me in the 8th cycle." "The 8th cycle?" But Andre Berto cursed. "Link told me that the 5th round KO I promised before the game was fake. It was a habit. He would continue to fight and finish 10 cycles. I was very exhausted at the time and didn't have much strength left. I was so angry when I heard him say that. I didn't care about counseling and persuasion, and I started to fight him again. As a result, I really fell into the trap." Anders Edge and Jones Foles looked at each other and laughed. The sparring on the stage was over. The two fought for 10 rounds, with Morales attacking and Link defending. Morales' punches were very heavy, no worse than Mario's at the heavyweight level. Link took hundreds of his punches and his arms were numb. When the two men left the stage, they were all sweating. Chapter 48 Dynasty Promotion Company. After sending Morales and his men away, Link went to the lounge to visit Mario, who was knocked unconscious. But this stinky guy had a sullen face and looked like he had suffered a great injustice. Link ignored him and found Wes, saying that he wanted to recruit 2 more sparring partners who should have good physical fitness, be able to withstand blows, and have better skills. Generally speaking, sparring partners, like coaches, play a very important role in the growth of boxers. There is an intense sparring match, and the amount of cuts is relatively large every day, and the growth rate will be faster. For example, John Roos, Oliver McCall, Larry Holmes, Lennox Lewis, etc. all gave sparring when they entered the boxing world and became world boxing champions. This is a process of mutual achievement. Mario has qualified physical fitness and good strength, but this guy is a bit stupid and grows slowly. He can't keep up with Link's growth rate and can't meet Link's needs. If we change some powerful sparring partners, the training effect will be better. West nodded and agreed. Link is now a star boxer with a good future. Afghanistan is looking for a sparring partner. If you inform the circle, many people should come to recommend themselves. Hi Link. Link returned to the store after training. Under the awning, a middle-aged man in a blue beach shirt and brown shorts stood up from the chair, took off his sunglasses, smiled and waved at him. Link stopped the car and looked at the other person. He was a little surprised that this person was Franco Duva, whom he had not seen for a long time. Link used to be well dressed and gentle, but now he was dressed casually, with his shirt open on his chest, occupying a piece of chest hair. He wore leather sandals on his feet, and his hair was no longer so sparse. It had been blown away by the sea breeze, and became sparse and messy. Franco Duva now cannot be said to be down and out. It is more appropriate to describe him as leisurely and casual. After all, the leather sandals on his feet are inlaid models of Italian luxury brand Adele Fendi, which cost more than $3,000 US. Mr. Duva, why are you here? Link, please call me Franco. Franco Duva said with a smile. Okay, Franco, why are you in Miami? Link took out 2 bottles of sparkling water from the refrigerator and handed one to Franco. Franco thanked him and smiled at him. Link, I'm here to sign a contract with you. How about it? Do you want to consider it? So, you brought 100 million elephants? Oh, no, of course not. I don't have 100 million ordinary, but I brought perception. Perception? Link smiled lightly and said, Franco, you should know that the perception of top promotion is worth 20 million US dollars. How sincere are you? Don't worry, I'm definitely more sincere than Greg Cohen. Franco took out a folder and pushed it over from the table. Link opened it and took a look. The signing bonus was about 8 million, payable in cash. The first place in the American Olympic qualifying tournament would be rewarded with 100,000. The Olympic gold medal would be 1 million. The silver medal would be 500,000. And the bronze medal would be 200,000. The top 3 in any international, domestic, or amateur boxing competition would be rewarded with 100,000 to 1 million. After entering the professional boxing arena, the 4 major organizations Intercontinental Boxing Champion Gold would be rewarded with 200,000, and the 4 major organizations World Class Boxing Champion Gold belts would be rewarded with 1 million each. In terms of income support, before becoming the world boxing champion, he and the company supported him 5:5. After becoming the world boxing champion, he and the company supported him 6:4. If he could maintain the boxing championship for more than 5 years, the support would be 7:3. And if he could maintain the championship for more than 10 years, the support would be 8:2. And so on. The content of the contract is very detailed. From competition to publicity, logistics, and medical care, from competition bonus income, PPV income, to peripheral income support, and so on. The story content covers a boxer's entire career, including what level of pension benefits he will enjoy after retirement. Link, how is it? When he was looking at the contract, Franco Duva put his arm around him and asked immediately when he saw his appreciation. Link did not answer. Although the contract was good, it still did not meet his expectations. He turned to the first page, pointed at the word Dynasty Promotions and asked, why Dynasty Promotions? Don't you know? Some time ago, I had a falling out with my father, and he gave up my position as the president of the company. I sold my shares, and took tens of millions to Dynasty Promotions in New York. The biggest news in boxing recently. I thought you knew, but you haven't heard of it? Franco asked in surprise. Link shook the report and looked at the name Dynasty Boxing Company and felt a little incredible. It was not that he felt incredible about Franco's betrayal of the Duva family and starting a new business, but that he felt incredible about this company because Dynasty Promotions should have appeared 4 or 5 years later. 4 or 5 years later, Franco Duva and his brother Dino Duva were dissatisfied with Lao Duva's business strategy, so they took some people to set up their own business, Dynasty Promotions. After the old Duva passed away in 2017, the main event company was managed by Lao Duva's daughter-in-law, Nora Duva, the wife of Franco Duva. Franco and his brother Dino continued to run Dynasty Promotions. Link knew about this company because Dynasty Promotions had a good cooperative relationship with the Huaxia boxing team. They initially signed Huaxia boxers Zhang Zilai, Meng Fanlong, Wang Zimin and others, and had a relatively large reputation through several years of publicity activities in Huaxia. They focused their business on the mainland, hoping to open up a market in this huge country with a population of 1.4 billion. The result was of course a complete failure. Chinese people are used to watching high-profile kung fu and martial arts movies, and are not very interested in boxing. In addition, Chinese boxers are either thin or fat, wearing strange shorts, and hugging each other on the stage, which is not aesthetic. There was no much ratings, no advertising leisure, and no ticket revenue. Dynasty Promotions lost a lot of money in the mainland, and finally had to give up the mainland market, close the domestic branch, and withdraw all investments to the United States. But at that time, the top domestic event promotion in the United States was the only one that stood out, and other companies such as Arena Promotion, Queensbury Boxing Promotion, Golden Boy Promotion, Top Champion Promotion, TGB Boxing Promotion, GTD Boxing Promotion, etc. were all blooming everywhere. Space, bankruptcy is also inevitable. What made Link take the initiative was that Franco Duva would defect to the main event several years in advance and create Dynasty Promotion. Butterfly effect. Link, don't worry. Although Dynasty Promotion is a newly established company, most of the backbone members in the company come from the main event company. There are more than 40 people and talents in all aspects. As long as you are willing to join Dynasty Promotion, we will definitely train you as a core boxing champion. Franco Duva said sincerely. Link pondered for a moment and thought that it would be good to go to Dynasty Promotion Company. It was an undeveloped blue ocean with a large operating space. It was just that he didn't have much confidence in Franco as a partner. This person was enthusiastic, sincere and emotional. It was good to make friends, but as an entrepreneur, it was obviously not suitable. Franco, signing a contract is more troublesome. I have to go to Havana to participate in the Olympic qualifying competition the day after tomorrow. I don't have time to deal with this matter. How about we talk about cooperation after the Olympics? 20% of the shares. Franco Duva suddenly grabbed his arm and said excitedly, Link, I can give you 20% of the shares of Dynasty Promotion as a partner of the company. How about we run Dynasty Promotion together? Link was a little surprised. Although the 20% share of Dynasty Promotions shares was not worth much, only a few million. But the other party was willing to give the shares, and their sincerity was amazing. This was not just optimism, but great optimism. This optimism forced Link to rethink whether to agree to it. In fact, he had not signed a contract with the promotion company. His plan was to play amateur competitions first, win championships in many places, and then switch to the professional boxing arena after half a year. He would show his strength, potential, and commercial value in professional competitions to attract negotiations with the promotion company. After having a professional record, he could talk about signing a contract. During the negotiation, he could stimulate initiative, get more signing money, and better income outsourcing. Because he had no plans to sign a contract, when chatting with Franco and Greg Cohen, he would shout out excessive demands such as 100 million and 70% income split, which made them retreat. Now Franco offered 8 million in contractor money, tens of millions in reward mechanisms, a marathon clause for the competition, and 2 shares in Dynasty Promotion, which was a good partnership. He had a full perspective, which made it difficult for him to refuse. Link pondered and said, Franco, I'm just a boxer, and I've never played in a professional competition. you're also a veteran in the boxing world. There must be many boxers who were very good when they were amateur boxers, but after switching to professional competitions, their results were disappointingly poor, such as Henry Tillman. Are you worried that I'm also this type of boxer? Henry Tillman was the gold medalist in the 91st level of the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics. In the Olympic qualifying competition, he defeated Tyson twice and made Tyson his substitute, but after switching to professional boxing, he was KO'd by Tyson in one round in 1990, which also became a strange story in the boxing world. Haha, Link, I believe you. You will never be a character like Henry Tillman. Even if you are, it doesn't matter. What you said to me on the train is actually the ability of an ordinary person. You are a powerful person, a person worth cooperating with. I not only invest in your boxing, but also in you as a person. I think you will become a great person in the future. How about it? Do you want to gamble? Franco Duva stretched out his hands and looked at him eagerly. Link thought for a while, stretched out his hand and shook it. Although Dynasty Promotion is a new company, it is not as good as strict main promotion, events, tangent promotion, etc. in terms of capital, connections and business. But the new company has great potential small internal competition and consumption, and joining Dynasty Promotion will be less troublesome. In addition, Franco Duva is the eldest son of the Duva family, the former president of the main event company, and the husband of the original president. He has no shortage of resources and connections. It is also a good choice to cooperate with such a company. Regarding the terms in the contract, there are still some details worth discussing. Link and Franco Duva only signed a draft contract, and the formal contract will be discussed in detail after the Olympic qualifying competition. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49 and Departure. Ha. 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 Franco. Don't laugh like that. I haven't heard anyone say my husband is a psychopath. Haha, Nora, I have a piece of news to share with you. It's really a piece of news. Do you want to know? In the car, Franco closed the car window and held the phone in his hand to his wife Nora Duva. What news? Tell me quickly. I still have a lot of work to deal with. Haha, the good news is that I signed Link, and Link agreed to sign the contract. Oh. There was silence on the other end of the phone for 2 seconds, and then asked, Franco, you probably didn't mean 100 million. Why would Link sign a contract with you? What did you give him? Tell me quickly. Haha, Link didn't ask for 100 million words. I just gave him a contract worth 20 million. Franco enthusiastically talked about a reward mechanism and a professional volunteer community after the job transfer. That's it? In my opinion, the contract offered by Strict Promotion is more serious than yours. Strict Promotion obviously surpasses your small company in terms of business capabilities. Since Link is a smart man, why doesn't he choose Strict Promotion? Why choose your small company? Hey, Nora, don't keep talking about small companies. Dynasty Promotion is a new company. It's small now, but in the future it may surpass major events and top promotions, and become the largest in the boxing industry. Franco, don't hide it. Tell me quickly, what else did you give him? Nora Duva interrupted his fantasy eyes. Nothing, just thinking of his wife Nora Duva, who is more powerful and not optimistic about Link. He didn't know whether he should tell Nora about the introduction of 20% of the shares. Would he be scolded? Franco, tell me, what else? I'm mentally prepared. Nora Duva took a breath and said moderately, nothing, just 20% of the shares of that small company. Are you crazy? Nora was shocked. I asked you to find a boxer, and you gave him the company? If you act like this, will Dynasty Promotions be enough for several boxers? No, that's not the case. I only plan to sign Link, and make Dallas a boxing superstar. I don't plan to sign anyone else. Have you signed? Nora asked hurriedly. We have put together a draft contract, and the formal signing will be signed when Link returns from Havana. Franco said. Ms. Nora Sang sighed on the other end of the phone. It's better not to sign the contract Franco, come back. You are a good leader, but you are not suitable for business negotiations. If you are optimistic about him, I believe in your eyes. I will give him a big contract and sign him to the main event. As for dynasty promotion, you should sign a few new people with potential for training first, and don't worry about Link Pyramid. Nora, you can't do this. You are the president of the main event, not the president of dynasty promotion. Please don't interfere in the affairs of dynasty promotion. And as for Link, you'd better not poach my people, otherwise I will be angry, and I'm really happy. Ms. Nora was silent for a while on the other end of the phone. Okay Franco, I won't interfere. When will you come back? Vera misses you. Nora, I'm ready. What do you think about moving the company to Miami? Franco thought for a while and negotiated. Nora. Bobo. The sound of the phone being hung up came from the microphone. Franco shrugged, picked up his phone, started the car, and looked at the luxury cars everywhere on the beach street. There were sea view houses, skyscrapers, luxury villas, rich areas and the famous Miami Gardens Villa area in the United States. Rich people love to watch boxing matches, and the market prospects here are prosperous. In addition, Miami does not collect personal income tax and capital gains tax. The money earned in Miami is yours. I think it is a very good idea to move the company to this place. When I go back, I will discuss it with Nora and try to get her consent. Ding-ling-ling. Link opened his eyes and took the phone on the bedside to see that it was 6 o'clock in the morning. The sky of Orlando outside the floor-to-ceiling window was slightly exposed to dawn. The Ferris wheel of Disneyland across the street was still flashing colorful circles of lights. The ding-dong sound of the tram could be vaguely heard on the street, which was inaudible. He took the slender white arm on his chest and gently put it back into the blanket. He got up and got out of bed. The floor-to-ceiling window reflected his strong dismembered body and powerful limbs. When he came out of the bathroom, Emma had already woken up, her head tilted on the pillow, her hair messy. She was blinking her brown eyes and quietly came out to watch him pack his clothes. Good morning, Emma. I have to meet up with the boxing team at 10 AM, and I have to leave now. Link pulled up his pants and said, when will we meet next time? I don't know. If there is a chance, I will also go to play with you. Link sat on the edge of London's bed and rubbed her hair. The scenes of Harry Potter in Orlando have been completed, and Emma will return to London with a crew to shoot. When will the next meeting be? No one can say during the holiday. After leaving the hotel, Link drove the Pontiac GTO back to Miami and rushed to the boxing team's gathering point, the Miami Coconut Grove Hotel, with his luggage at 9:30. Hey, Link, why are you here just now? There's a traffic jam on the road. Anders E.G. was standing by the fountain in front of the door, waving his arms at him. Beside him were Morales, Jones Foles, and Berto, all wearing uniform boxing sportswear. Around the four of them, there were 70 or 80 men in the same clothes, carrying large and small luggage bags, standing in the small square of the hotel waiting for the bus. They were also members of the US boxing team, starting from the bantamweight to the super heavyweight, with the future bronze bomber, WBC heavyweight boxing champion Deontay Wilder, also the former Golden Gloves champion heavyweight champion, the future WBA IBF WBO IBO heavyweight world boxing champion Andy Ruiz Jr., also defeated the Golden Gloves light heavyweight champion. This man was born in California, USA, of Mexican descent. Because there is no light heavyweight class in the Olympics, the news said that he had moved up to the weight class and represented Mexico in the Olympic qualifiers, so his clothes were different from those around him. There was also light heavyweight champion Joe Smith, middleweight champion George Groves, and so on. The bus arrived, and the owners got on the bus and took a boat to Havana, Cuba to participate in the competition. Havana is the capital and largest city of the Republic of Cuba. It is located on the northwest coast of Cuba, across the Florida Straits and far away from Cuba. Havana is the commercial center of Cuba and the largest city in the Caribbean countries. The famous Havana cigars are world famous. There are also Santa Maria Beach, the ancient Moro Castle, and the Joe Smarty Plaza in the city center, which are all famous tourist attractions in Havana. The venue for this Olympic qualifier is the Social Culture and Sports Center on East Ogsay Street in the Revolution Square. This is a dilapidated stadium after all, and it will become lively and even famous because of this Olympic qualifier. Chapter 50 KO again. Link, Andre lost. Aragon is so good. In Havana, Cuba, the Social and Sports Center is about to participate in the Olympic qualifying competition. Link just came down from the boxing ring and met Morales, a diabetic dreadlock, who came to report the news. In the first round of the knockout match yesterday, Andre beat vs Lorenzo Aragon of the Cuban team. The match result was 14-31. Andre Beto suffered a defeat. Lorenzo Aragon is the first in the super middleweight of the Cuban boxing competition. He is 25 years old, 190 centimeters tall, 194 centimeter arm length, black, and scored in boxing technology. He represented Cuba in the men's 69 kilograms boxing event at the 2004 Athens Olympics, and won all the way to the finals. He encountered Kazakh boxer Atayev in the national competition, and was unfortunately defeated, and won a silver medal. 4 years later, Aragon raised his weight to 75 kilograms, and participated in the super middleweight competition, aiming directly at the Olympic gold medal. Andre Beto had bad luck in getting such a tough opponent in the first round. That bastard named Aragon is just like you, dodging and slyly rubbing like a loach during the game. Andre couldn't hit him at all. Morales cursed angrily. It sounds really tough. Link nodded. Link, how are you doing in Prague? Jones Fuller squeezed through the crowd, his expression somewhat solemn. He had only fought in domestic competitions before, and seeing the extremely high level of boxing in the United States, he thought that the best boxers in the world were concentrated in the United States. If they could make the top 5 in the US Golden Gloves Championship, they would not be bad abroad. After coming to the Americas arena and watching several matches in Cuba, Mexico, Brazil and other countries, he couldn't help but feel numb and his horizons were broadened. Cuban boxing, imitating Russian boxing, the punching speed is fast and fierce, and the offensive rhythm is very good. In addition, most Cuban boxers are black, with good body flexibility and very flexible movement speed, which originated from the guerrilla tactics of the Cuban Revolutionary Army, and they change positions after each punch, with flexible patterns. Mexican boxing, it is a combination of modern European and American boxing techniques and regional integration characteristics. The fighting style is extremely fierce, fearless, unflinching, and not afraid of injury. During the game, it is like fighting with the opponent, and even if you die, you must bite a piece of meat off the opponent. The boxing of Brazil and Argentina combines the specialties of the local ethnic groups, such as fast movement speed, flexible and changeable fighting movements, one punch after another, and continuous offensive, which is very difficult to deal with. There are also small countries in Central and South America such as Haiti, Jamaica, and Guatemala. Since boxing is their means of survival and a way to get a living, they are determined and very tenacious during the game. Compared with the boxers of these countries, American boxing is only better in technology, experience, and physical fitness, and does not have an advantage in other aspects. Jones Foles watched a circle of games in various countries and was shocked. Even the arrogant posture when he first came to Hawaii was consciously restrained. When he saw Link leaving the field, he immediately came to ask. The second place in the super middleweight of the US team had been defeated, and all hope was on Link. Link's opponent in the first round was Macias Ezequiel Vargas Martin from Mexico, who was also the strongest opponent. If Link also failed, the US super middleweight squad would have to go home. KO. I won. Link laughed softly. KO. KO again. Morales and Jones shouted in surprise. It's no wonder that they were surprised. In fact, this result was too amazing. The Olympic qualifying tournament is different from the Golden Gloves tournament. A match has only 4 rounds. Each round is 2 minutes, and there is a 1-minute break in the middle. There is too much time, and the number of KO problems has increased exponentially. There are 2 completely different situations to get a KO in the Olympic series. The first is to knock down the opponent directly and make the opponent unable to get up. Second, in a round, if one party is knocked down to the ground 3 times in a row, and the 3 knockdowns count, the referee can directly determine that the other party wins by KO, or in a match, that is, in 4 rounds. If one party is knocked down 4 times and the 4th time is counted, the referee thinks that the gap between the two sides is large, and the other party can also be directly determined to win by KO. The third is to cause serious injuries to the opponent. For safety reasons, the referee will stop the game. When Link was competing with Martin, the second player of the Mexican team, he knocked Martin down 4 times with heavy punches in the first 3 circles, but Martin stood up very tenaciously and had a very strong will. Link could only increase his strength and punch continuously. In the 4th round, he hit 47 heavy punches. In the end, with many punches that exceeded his opponent's weight, he completely knocked Martin down in the 4th round and won the game smoothly. Let's take a look at Andre. At Link's suggestion, the 4 of them came to boxing ring number 6. As the qualifying round was short, only 5 days, and there were too many events, 8 boxing rings were set up in the Social Culture and Sports Center. Sometimes 8 matches would be held at the same time. Before the match, the operators of each team would draw lots to decide the ring. Link was on ring number 2, and Andre and Cuban boxer Lorenzo Aragon were on ring number 6. When Link and his friends came over, Andre was talking to the team coach and translator about preparations. Since Cuba belongs to the Latin language family, more than 90% of the people speak Spanish and native dialects, and English is not taught in schools, which is said to be to prevent people from sneaking into the United States. Therefore, both the American team and the Canadian team need to be equipped with translators to compete in Strawberry. Other American countries basically speak Spanish and Portuguese, which also belong to the Latin language family, so they are collectively referred to as Latinos. Link's ethnicity is one of the regions with the highest proportion of Latinos in the United States, with more than half of the population speaking Spanish. Link Baker knows Spanish, and Link also uses some. Link, how is the game? Andre Beto looked over and shouted, "Rob." Without waiting for Link to speak, Andre ZG told everyone the progress of the game in an excited tone. Hearing that Link continued to win by KO, everyone cheered happily. Link, well done. Andre and the coaching staff clapped their hands. Thank you. Link shrugged and smiled. Link, I lost. The next game depends on you. Andre Beto patted his shoulder. Link nodded. Due to the 2 places under the super middleweight shoulder, and because of the first place Link's decision, the second place of the American team lost the qualification to continue the game. Next, they can participate in the experience exchange game. Link needs to face all the qualified boxers in the first round alone. A total of 28 countries and regions sent boxing teams to participate in this round of the American Olympic Boxing Qualification Tournament, with a total of 325 boxers. There are 18 countries participating in the super middleweight competition, and 18 college students Brown advanced in the first round of eliminations. All of them are among the best in the super middleweight class. Link, look over there, that guy's Lorenzo Aragon. Andre Beto pulled him and pointed to the opposite corner. There stood a black youth with dark skin and a thin body, a blue tattoo on his shoulder, 190 centimeters tall, 4 centimeters taller than Link, and 2 centimeters longer arms than Link. He had participated in 2 world championships and 1 Olympic Games, had rich experience in major competitions, and looked very good. Next to him is his coach Felix Savin. Andre Beto said, pointing to the middle-aged black man next to Lorenzo Aragon. Felix Savin? Link's face became serious. Felix Savin is the 3rd boxer in the history of the Olympic Games to win gold medals in boxing for 3 consecutive times in 1992, 1996 and 2000. The waist is Teofilo Stevenson, a legendary Cuban boxer. The second is Laszlo Papp, a legendary Hungarian boxer. For various reasons, they did not enter the professional boxing world, but in the boxing world, no one can compare with them in amateur achievements and honors. Felix Savin is also the first generation of the Cuban boxing world. Lorenzo Aragon is his disciple, so his strength is naturally not bad. Link felt a little pressure. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.